in with the shotgun, and that is Svenos taking out Airwax in the kill feed. It was Nikov ended up getting it. A lot of pressure put onto Nikov from the side.
Crazy Llama, the Japanese player we saw stalking somebody else in retail row earlier, and he's coming in with the grenade launcher, gets one tag, 100 damage onto Nikov. He's going to be able to heal up with the minis though, but still, Crazy Llama, here he comes.
Yeah, trying to get through that top floor, tries to get the edit, doesn't quite get it in the way he wants to. Trying to find any different position for this fight, and you can see the vultures circling on the top side of the minimap just before we swapped to this wide angle on the fight. Crazy Llama is in such a good position health-wise.
I think that was his last grenade. There's no more materials here for Nikov.
Window comes out, and look, Crazy Llama trying to readjust with these ramp pieces, but he's taking shots from behind as well. Crazy Llama switches around and ends up losing the engage to Nikov.
Nikov is on a tear here in retail row. That's 2 in a row we saw, and I think he already had an Alien before that, but hopefully he picks up some materials there from Crazy Llama because the third party is coming in. But here we go, Mitro against Zate. This is such an important battle for Loot Lake.
Yeah, Mitro, a name that we caught a glimpse of earlier, but didn't really see anything in Game 2 from. One of those names that people expect a lot from. He's got moves named after him. Yeah. He does his 90s in a specific way. People say Mitro is one of those players to watch out for, but 0 eliminations on the board for now.
Yeah, one of the most winningest players in EU. We actually see Beehive is also setting up nearby. I think Zate decides he wants to back off from Mitro. Zate is up ahead in the standings for Mitro. I think Mitro is in around 68th position. Zate around 30-something.
Tixi now taking on Poverty. Poverty, a player in the Polish portion of the tournament that didn't really live up to a lot of the expectations that people had put on him. Ended really quite low down, especially, if I remember rightly, on the solos portion. But in Tixi trying to just get any kind of sight he can. But there's a third party, as that was Zeke taking out Tixi from the side.
Those are the Polish duo. One thing I like there about what Tixi was doing, he edited his stairs and stayed on the stairs so he could look down through the wood and try to spot where that player was, Poverty. So here we go. One of the other Korean players, Envy. I think he's in a fight here, just actually turtling up a little bit. He's in the center zone, so this is what we talk about always, is try to get center zone the first, the second, the third, the fourth, because it's going to give you the biggest chance of getting that next zone.
And this is always going to be one of those questions when you look at South Korean players, typically in esports, are the pinnacle. Yeah. But so far, we haven't seen it. We're only 2 games in, right? There are only a few South Korean players here. It's not quite in the same way that other esports have seen dominance, and I think that makes for a very intriguing prospect the further we go through this tournament. And we do have a new zone shown up.
Yeah, and it's not going to be towards that northeast. It's actually going to go towards Tilted, towards the center of the map. And here, another one of the Korean players, Fax Fox, going up against Max Alibert. And he's going to rift out. That was a good decision here. Try to get more center zone, like I always talk about, just like we did say. He's going to rift over. See if Max Alibert decides to chase here, though. And look at that loadout. Not very strong for Fax Fox.
I think this is a great time for us to talk about the mobility changes that Season 8 has brought on. We've got a lot of people up towards that northeast area. Obviously, the Stormwing was vaulted for Season 8. We also have had a removal of a lot of rifts that not a lot of people have found out until they played a bunch of games. So some of that mobility not so prevalent to get to the later zones.
Yeah. Not so prevalent indeed. The Stormwing gone and the Rifts gone, but in the northeast area we actually have those vents, those volcanic vents, and we have cannons all around the map, which you can launch yourself all the way across. I think you can go up to 260 meters. I think that was Zacubus who said that earlier. What a nice little addition there. Those cannons, you can see one right on your screen there.
I think one of the things about them are way less controlled than the Stormwing, where you just get in the Stormwing. Yeah, exactly. You've got to make sure that you know exactly where you're aiming. Unfortunately, Tajovsky in Game 1, if you've seen the clip, off the edge of the map he went. And at this point in the game, luckily, no risk of that happening. We've got this 3-tiered fight going on between Shinken and Sinnoh.
And Shinken, one of the biggest upstarts in EU recently, especially through the pop-up cups and the scrim scene. He's been winning a lot, and with his teammate Stompy, we'll see what they can do together in the duos. But for now, Shinken is actually rising in the standings. In the last game, he didn't play so well in the first game, but now I think he's up top 50 at least. So we'll see. This is actually a spot that we've seen so many players just kind of turtle up on. It used to be that this Broken House here was one where all the engagements were happening and there was nothing really to turtle up on because there's so many cracks in the wall. But here's a replay here. Bowman onto Kinzel, just opening that window. I think he was stuck in the football net, as you would say there.
Yeah, stuck in the net, but got a lot more than just net at that point. As Nikov, we saw some of his engagements to start off. This was the drop in that Nikov ended up picking up that elimination from. As a second challenger approached for the rest of that package. And this is this moment of the game where everybody's trying to get into this zone. There's a lot of distance to cover. And as we said, mobility highly reduced. So this is a kind of moment where you look at the players like Maxcalibur, there's not a whole lot of fighting actually going on within this building.
Yeah, and actually Demo, speaking of not a lot of fighting, he's where he drops. This is where he stayed, and he just stayed the entire time. You can see him boxing up in the metal. That's what you're going to be able to get from Divot, or at least the diner or the factory as it's called as well. Trying to drop down Fa here, one of the Brazilian players.
Yeah, trying to just pyramid his way to safety and stay alive inside the building from here. You can see Zexro on the top of your screen. Had a good performance in the last game. Actually placed second, lost out to Keenstar in that 1v1 for the victory royale. And Keenstar is currently top of the standing, so that's how important that 1v1 can be, plus those eliminations from the game. But certainly Zexro having a good performance.
Indeed. There you can hear another Rift to Go going off. Everybody's vying for positioning now. There's 70 players still remaining. They're all kind of boxing up and deciding, hey, how do I want to approach this endgame? Actually taking a shot.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, just a little bit ambitious. He doesn't hit anything there, just the top of the pyramid.
Testing the wind at this point.
Imagine if you could just curve your bullets like that. We'd have some crazy plays with that.
I'm kind of glad you can't, I'll be honest. There's enough craziness that goes on, and we definitely see that towards the end game. But build up as Selzma kind of doesn't quite find the build to start, but has found that position on the side of the cliff.
Yeah, one of the things, though, that zone just ended up closing, so the new zone isn't going to be where... Oh, no, the launch pad, unfortunately, he didn't think about and look up. That's one of the things always...
Everyone's done this.
Yeah, everyone has. You don't really think about it when you're kind of under in the open of Dusty Divot.
Is he setting a trap for somebody else to use the launch pad and then hit the roof, bounce back, and try and pick up an elimination?
It's possible. There's 72 hours. You can actually see him in the outside the zone. He just used one of those vents. He's going to rotate in the zone. And Lil J onto Kaiser and Jamside. Jamside is doing really well in the standings as well.
Yeah, doing very well. We saw Little J make it to one of the later storms in the first two games. One of the Chinese players represented here at the ESL Katowice Royale.
I think he needs to take a page here out of 72 Hours book and go into that zone. It's still only 2 tick. Go into that zone, grab the vent, and rotate in because he doesn't want to use those launch pad. That mobility is such a good resource.
Yeah, especially for later in the game, right? When you start getting those moving zones come through. There's Cripper we saw losing out to Myth in game number 1, but has made his way pretty deep in this third game of the day. History, one of the Brazilian players represented here.
Crippa, one of the strongest players that impressed me from Winter Royale. He has been on a tear as well, so he's one of the, like Shinken and Boyer, and his duo, doing with Boyer. He's been doing so well in pop-up cups, so well in scrims. Everybody's excited to see what they can show for us here. But actually, Zizma's in a box there with History. He's got to be careful. History's going to back out.
Yeah, Zizma trying it.
There, he's got the wall.
And he has got the window, but it doesn't reset. He's trying to reset it just to try and get that angle on the fight. Oh, the block. Who actually has this? Is it still History? Has the edit on this, but is forced back behind the ramp because every time he switches, there's another shot.
Yeah, this is exactly what we actually do within the pro scene to practice box fights. They literally just get in a box next to each other. But now, finally, I think that's Demo up top says, "Hey guys, you guys, I want to join in the fun too." So he puts an end to that. And they're gonna relax a little bit. You see History holding the stairs there because he can see through and see what Zizma is going to do.
They're going to have to move, though, as this storm...
And that's a huge problem for Zizma because he wasted that launch pad. So now he has nothing. All he has to do is break through the roof of that, but that's going to take forever, so he's going to be on foot.
Big European name at the bottom left of your screen, Camo, did set a world record for solo versus squads, one of the things that people like to track. Yeah. A great player in his own mind. I'm excited to see him playing up against some of the world's best as well as History. He's gatekeeping this storm. Doesn't quite connect with the first one, but that is a lot of shots that connect in the end. He's trying to hunt down this elimination for himself, and he does.
Teammate on teammate again. And that's interesting there. Brazilian players. He's going to actually have a replay, so he's going to catch up to the zone.
Ooh, grenades raining down onto Svenos.
Yeah, that's Lil J again, really harassing with that grenade launcher. A lot of players would kind of opt to save that ammo for a little bit later, because we're only going to the 4th zone here.
Some big European names in this area. Svenos, Skype, Vivid is over to the left side of your screen. There's 72 Hours from America over there as well.
And
so
Animal as well. So
there's someone big from everywhere.
It's so stacked. Literally everywhere I look, I see a player that I need to point out. And now, going into that fourth zone, we got 50 seconds till it moves. Lolito actually maybe looking to get a little bit of aggressive onto Svenos. For now, it's going to be calm. They don't have too far to go for this zone, so it's not probably going to go to an engagement unless they decide, hey, I actually need some elims. Ooh! Lolito maybe had the idea to go into zone to get Svenos there, but no.
Yeah, didn't end up committing to it, although Lolito did end up falling. Was that to Skite? It looked like that was the engage there.
Yeah, Skite's rushing over there. I think he might have some loot there, so he could have gotten him. So that's nice for Skite. He's one of our top players. He dropped to 6th place in the last game, but he's playing so consistently. And that's what you need to do in this tournament. So, again, 4th zone closing. Everybody's making their way in. There's still a lot of players outside of zone.
And with such a stacked field, you look at the fact that Skite doing well has been a winner in the past. Bizzle doing well, he's won as well.
Yeah.
As Skite, we are watching on with him.
What a nice there by Skite. He actually edges his way in zone, so that's going to close, and he's going to stay in it. And he used that medal that he picked up from that player on the side there.
Poverty trying to follow Rizard up the mountain. If you can get any kind of sight, that's one shot for that elimination. Saf is up here as well. Saf is going to try and get that easy elimination off the side.
Got to be careful, though.
Poverty's here as well.
Saf just jumped off his high ground. That might be, well, the zone is still moving, so that makes sense. He's actually going to leave from Rizard.
Yeah, hopefully, in his mind, if Rizard ends up going in front of him, that'll be an easy pick-off. But Saf... Ooh.
He knows.
Yeah, Saf knows. He's putting it up behind him to make sure he's covered.
Great awareness there. Saf definitely trying to get one of those big performances because he definitely didn't have enough points to go into the next game. I think he had 0. There's Kinstar.
Yeah, that's our points leader. Yeah. Still alive in this game. Still safe, trying to get points.
Man, that's consistency. Look at Skite. Look at Kinstar. Look at all these big players.
72 Hours. They're going to have to move soon. Everybody's got to go when this zone changes.
Half in, half out zone coming right now.
There
it is.
Seen the Storm Surge warning as well.
Bottom right of Loot Lake here. Everybody's a little bit nervous when it comes to Loot Lake, but I think people are very comfortable now as we get the mats on Elim. It's harder to move there.
Harder to move, and we'll see who ends up being the first to move. Saf did just get an elimination for himself. Yeah,
one point I want to talk about this zone is it's going to go over towards that little bit of slight incline, so people might decide to go a little bit late here if they have launch pads. Nate Hill as well, onto Demo, onto Saf. Everybody's trying to hold these players out of zone, try to get as many tags as they can.
So difficult once those miniguns spin up the direction to hear where everything's coming from. There's just so much obstruction on that noise coming through. Now we're on with Mitro. Mitro, no eliminations, but has an RPG. We'll see whether Mitro can find an angle, trying to just get away through.
Sneaking his way, trying to get that rocket launcher into there while everybody's shooting. But here's the rush towards the zone. Everybody's going to decide, hey, I want to use all the mobility that I can from others. You see Nate fighting Demo on the side as well. He just took him out, I believe.
Keenstar manages just to jump onto that launch pad as Nate doesn't quite manage to get there in time. Nikov running and tracking through the bottom of this. Now everybody lands on one.
So this is what I was talking about. Zeke landing towards that hill here. Imagine also doing the same thing. A lot of players deciding to land inside over towards that hill, because if it does go that way, you're just going to be able to build up so easily. Here, Animal on high ground. He's taking shots at players flying in.
He's just trying to get anything. Hits some shields, gets anything he can. Importantly, I believe Jesse from the X2 Twins was still alive, and Jordan I just saw as well. So this time they are lasting a little bit later. We're into the points now on placements. There's 42 players remain. We crossed that 50-player barrier. That now means everybody will at least have scored points.
Jam side taking out Boyer in the Elim feed there. Nice. And we'll see Jam side, one of our top players as well. There's so many of these consistent players up still. Shinken, Vinny, Zate, Jesse, Australia showing up strong in this game.
You said Vinny, he's a player that recently having a surge, and in this tournament so far has performed very well as well. So we saw him just last week, or just this week, signing to TSM. So it's just such a big, massive names right now in this final set of zones.
Skite's still up as well there. You can see him taking some shots. And all the clinger spam, everybody's just trying to get any shots they can on people. They never know how low players are going to be, so it's always valuable to take shots. Obviously, you're opening yourself up to a little bit of a risk when you do it, and it is going to go north into zone, but hold on.
Jordan just picked off Camo in that action feed. Vivid trying to track across the top of this one, and here they go. As the storm moves, so does everybody with it, and this is where so many eliminations start happening, and they are so key. As Animal picks up one for himself, Zeke is able to get away from that tricky situation, stuck on 3 eliminations for himself, and now we're in tight corners.
Animal, one of the best endgame players at this pathing, exactly what you see him doing right now, but Razaru again on high ground. He's taking it, and I think he has it. So, Mitro up. Vinny up.
Jules trying to track up. Let's see that he doesn't go too high and die to fall damage like he did in game number 2. Poverty trying to track up as well against Razaru. Poverty actually has stolen the high ground away, but on the low ground is where most of the action is. Jesse trying to make his way. Hupek on such low health, and we can see Funk Bomb right at the bottom. Poverty drops down, takes a massive shotgun shell from Razaru. Poverty's going to drop. That's it. Poverty's out from that high engage, and Razaru is the only player stuck at the top of the screen.
This was the issue last time for Razaru. He had high ground, but he got it stolen from him, and this time he didn't. He keeps to hold it.
26 builds left, so he has enough to stay in the zone for now, but he's going to need some of them from further eliminations. 0 eliminations in this game, and opting mainly for placement points as we continue. 15 builds as he puts a new ceiling on the house.
72 Hours has got 2 elims in the zone. He's so close. I think he just got another one down on low ground as well.
He's in the storm, though, ends up falling to it as Mitro tries to get the high ground. Massive damage comes through as Mitro checks above him just to make sure there's no rifts. Nobody circling the skies.
Yeah, 7 players left. Mitro on high ground. This is exactly where he sells. He has the RPG, but he's no ammo. So we'll see what he's able to do from high ground. Animal's still up as well. Nikov. So many big names in this endgame. Here's Animal. He goes down to Vato.
Vato, really big pickoff from the low ground there.
Oh, actually, somebody took high ground. Who is that? Mitro? No, it's still Mitro. I forgot about him up on high. How could I forget about Mitro? 6 players left.
That's when you end up eliminated by Mitro, is when you forget about him and he's in a building with a trap. But at this point, Mitro still has that high ground. Jules is up there with him. If Mitro can win this exchange, that puts him in such a good position. But low ammo, 9 shells left.
All he has is shotgun shells and builds. That's all he can do. But it's actually going to go over old builds, so he's going to be able to drop down pretty safely and conserve a lot of materials. But that rift is up in the sky. We got to see. Okay, nobody's diving on him. That's a sigh of relief for him.
Sigh of relief, but it also means he's going to have to build back down. Majin has had a great game so far. I've seen his name constantly in the action feed. Those eliminations have been ticking up.
Stuck in zone, though. That's going to be it for him. He goes down the zone. 5 players left. Okay, now 3. 2 elims at the same time.
That's how quick this goes in these late games. When you just get any kind of sight on an opponent, you can get that pickoff, get that elimination. And
all these old builds, so important for Mitro. He's low on materials. He's just using these. It's going all over, but now it's going to be the end. And you can see Jules trapping down. If Mitro dropped on him, that would have been really nice.
Just hiding a trap anywhere at this point if you can end up dropping them through.
This is an issue here for Mitro. He does not have the materials to fight Jules here. He needs to possibly keep away. Vato has the advantage, I think, going all the way down to low ground, but Jules actually dropping down. He decides, yes, I want to do this. So Mitro actually back to the advantage.
Ooh, Mitro going to have to build his way down the stairs as Vato does end up losing to Jules. It's a 1 versus 1. Mitro is nearly on the low ground, but now the shotgun maybe comes into effect. He really only needs 1 shot to connect to pick up this game for himself, and with the high ground, he's just trying to find any kind of position that he can.
It's only a green, though, and that shot was so close from Jules. 80 there.
Oh, Jules takes it. Jules steals away the game from Mitro with 6 eliminations to his name and the victory royale.
That is such a strong performance. One of the, I think it was mostly EU only in that end game there. And Jules, he was in the end game in the second game, and then he fell to fall damage. But no, this time he decides, hey, I want to go down. I remember last game, and cleans it up. What a strong performance there.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks, lads. I'm joined here by Jules. What an incredible display. GG, my friends. Walk us through the game. How did it feel for you?
I was pretty lucky. I rotated to Fatal, and I had a Rift vending machine for wood, so I bought 2. And I had like 1 pad, and I was really lucky for that.
So when you get to the end game, do you choose to play aggressively or do you kind of hold back? Because there's lots of different ways you can earn points.
I try to temporize the more time than I can with the Rift, and I play aggressive for the end, yeah.
And lastly, what is it like playing with the creme de la creme, like the best players in the world? Is it a fun experience? Is it nerve-wracking? How do you feel?
I feel really good right now, yeah.
Well, we are very lucky to have you here. Congratulations. Our Game 3 winner is Jules. Big round of applause, please. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Okay.
From your pro, obviously, background and what your experience, what would you suggest these players be doing?
Souls is so different than Duos, that's first of all. In Duos, you have your drop. If you win it, you have it for the rest of the tournament. In Solos, you might actually, even if you win your drop, initial drop, you might actually think about changing your initial position, since there are so many players that are lacking the context of the early drops of other players, and it can be aggressive towards you if you have a big POI. But at the same time, what is worth mentioning, there's a different point system that we use at this tournament. An example, first place, 65 points. Second place, 58. Only 7 points difference. But if you go lower, third place has 56, then 54, 52, 50. The small difference that we have between those placements is actually very rewarding towards players that are consistent. So the people who are doing well, they're going to stick to their guns and they're going to just do what they do well. The people who are lower on the bracket, they need to change it up. They need to be more aggressive in the early game and then get those placements point later in the game.
And that's exactly what a player like Jules, who won the third game, did. He redeemed himself from the full damage in game 2, wins the game 3, puts himself in second place.
Well, game 3 is done and dusted. It's time for round number 4. Gentlemen, it's over to you. Take it away.
Loading in round 4, dropping on with Skite, who we know is one of the top European players, and he's been doing pretty well for this tournament so far. Lofar, is there anybody that you think we haven't featured or that you want to see more from in this game as we reach that halfway-ish point of the tournament?
I would say Aspect, but he's not doing well so far, man. Him and Animal are doing well in scrims, always like doing well in tournaments and so far. But in solos, man, he's dead last right now. So I hope he will pick it up and get some early game kills and, you know, just get a starting position. But here at Happy Helmet, we have a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. There's Aim Hero there from Korea. Now this is Vilex and Fa. Trying to trade over this house. You mentioned Aspect. I'm always keeping my eyes to see if he comes up in the action feed, because he lost every single one of his first fights in the first 3 games. And that kind of thing is not what we were expecting. We weren't really expecting Aspect to be on such a back foot in the tournament early on. Slow pace start for Vilex and Fa.
You will be also able to say who has a good mindset later in the stages. But let's focus on this fight. It's starting a little bit slow. No one has any mats. Probably also very low on equipment. Maybe no shotguns as well.
Dual pistols now for Vilex as he's trying to get through that floor. Dropping into the trap, it's gonna get him. Far ends up falling. Vilex picks up the elimination.
That is so much value right now. First elimination. Early in the game, 150 mats, right? You get that right off the bat, and 50 HP. That puts him in a fantastic spot, so you can rotate earlier, because if you gain 150 mats, just by getting a kill. But let's focus on the Stompy, and who is that?
Another trap goes down. I didn't quite see. It may very well have been Katowice. Was trying to just get his way through that trap. We're back over into the polar area as Stompy and Katowice. This is the wide angle on the fight. We were just seeing, wow, Katowice just takes him out with that one shot, one elimination off that heavy shotgun.
Hey. Everyone is so aggressive in the early game. I love it.
I love it too. This is great for the early game. I love that we get a little bit of pace here as Issa trying to find Bowman. Bowman drops down, tries to get it, but swaps out to the pistol. Doesn't get it, but look at the damage traded back as Issa picks up Bowman. A really important elimination again.
What a follow-up with the Grey Pistol as well. People underestimate the Grey Pistol.
Oh, Kinzel, we'll see whether he underestimates Excalibur as he's trying to get any kind of position that he can. Kinzel has the high ground for now, but 14 health, has the first aid kit, but you bet there is no way he's being given the time to channel that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Excalibur would just like to drop him down by destroying this entire build. He knows that he nailed 104 damage from the shotgun.
He actually got the time to first aid kit. Oh, he actually got the first aid kit off. That turns this fight. And look, Kinzel knows already. He says, okay, I'm coming for you because there's no way you can be as healthy as me anymore. Excalibur trying to get his way out. Peeks through the pyramid.
That's a good position to just, you know, launch in any different direction right now. He has the floor underneath him. So just one edit and he's out of there.
Oh, Kinzel trying to go in through the low ground. Risky strategy at times, but he'll have seen the edit play come through now. Trying to just clip through, does get it.
He got the white damage. He knows he has no shields at all.
Drops in. What a beautiful elimination from Kinzel. Drops over the high ground, able to pick him up. We're now on with X2 Jordan all the way from Oceania, all the way looking for his first elimination of the game. Good replace on that roof. At least to deny from that 4 health, stays alive. This fight has turned. He has got to find this next shot. Desperately trying to peek. Pistols are out, but there was a trap in there. And X2 Jordan gets baited.
How did he not see that trap? Maybe he didn't remember it. Maybe that's the, you know, the nerves are talking log. You're on the LAN. It's a big tournament.
Kinzel just falls to Ares. Ares just comes in and says, okay, you won the last fight, but Ares picks up this elimination, no sweat.
I'm very happy for Eric, by the way. He wasn't doing well in this tournament so far. He had 0 points going into this game right now. So by getting that elimination early in the game, he's, well, I hope he will do well better.
So this zone covers a lot of the points of interest that were added in Season 8. We've got the Volcano, we got Lazy Lagoon, but we are jumping up to a fight between Peacock and Tixi. There is a third player here as well. That Stink Grenade is going to pick up the elimination for Fwexy. He was the one that was waiting around the side, and now Tixi going to just drop out the back.
200 HP for both of them. They seem to be reluctant to pick up the fight. Good decision. That's actually, when it comes to solos, it's so important to know when you have to back out.
Yeah, Poach taking on Madsen right now, and Poach is currently sat at 69th in the scoreboard, so this would be a big elimination and a good start to Game 4 for him. One of North America's players that everybody was expecting a lot from coming into this tournament. Everyone was saying, Poach, we're going to see so much. First 3 games have been a little bit slow. I want to see him try and maybe score a few more points in these last 4.
Well, you know, statistically speaking, you have 100 great players. Some of them will do badly.
Absolutely, and we'll hopefully see if Poach can settle himself. Kuna takes a big shot off. It's actually not as big as I thought. First of all, only 33 damage comes through.
Oh, they're getting knocked down by someone else. Those clingers, where did they appear from?
I think Kuna threw them down because he was actually trying to get an elimination for himself as they were falling to the ground.
Important thing to notice, he has a disco roam in his equipment right now. That can be a game changer when you don't expect it and you're getting hit.
I heard a couple go off in the late game, in the last game, where he does that disco grenade, comes out and everything kind of changes the complexion for a few seconds. And he's looking for Saf. Saf, again, another player that everybody was talking a lot about, but hovering at the bottom of the standings so far. Will run for safety for now, though. Doesn't take an engage.
We're going back to Poach.
Yeah, Poach and Madsen. Right now, as the zone is closing in, they do have a decent way to go. So this basically is a fight to see who lives to see the next storm. Poach trying to find his way outside that edit. Poach just takes so much damage off that first shot. Dire situation, and he is finished off by Madsen, as Madsen will put Poach out of round 4.
Not looking good for Poach, man, I have to admit. Early game death for him means that he will be still in that bottom 50 in the standings.
Yeah, you don't get placement points until that 50th spot in the game. This is Boya, Nirvana, and Kamo fighting just on the southern border of Tilted.
6 clingers at his disposal and the heavy sniper as well. It's a great combination to use together.
Oof, Nirvana just got caught in the stink grenade as well, and Kamo's going to try and pick up the pieces, trying to fire through the floor, trying to get anything he can against Nirvana, but couldn't quite get through. The metal is starting to build now, so Nirvana will be safe for a moment as he tries to get his way back up that ramp.
Interesting circle, by the way, you can see in the picture. It's very centralized, so a lot of possibilities when it comes to movement. You will have access to cannons, you will have access to vents as well.
Looks like a lot of the north side of the zone is actually in the new lagoon area, so a lot of over water fighting to be had if it continues to move north.
Not sure if you noticed, but Kamo has an absolute beast of an inventory. Look at this.
Yeah, it's great, right? You got double legendary items plus the AR. I feel like the only thing he's missing is if he could stumble onto a vending machine that has a rift to go or a launch pad, he'd be like, oh, great, everything's good for the late game.
I mean, this meta is going to be revolving around this mobility item late game, so having launch pads and rift to go is super important. But here we have Glaxu from this stream.
Yeah, Cloud getting stink grenaded out as Black's trying to get any kind of position on this fight. Cloud is getting run around through the low ground. No angle yet for Black's to actually get an elimination. Cloud's going to try and build up for a moment there, trying to just change direction as quickly as possible.
He was controlling the fight very well, but he backed out at some point. He's worried about the third parties that can just shoot him down from the... not shoot him down, but just shoot it from different angles and just lose health for no really big reason. He can still be passive. He is inside of circle, if I'm not mistaken. So it's all good.
And this is where those passive moments come through. We were talking about placement points. Right now, unless you really have to move, there's no point in taking a fight. And that's what a lot of players will play towards. You can see how congested this area is around Dusty. As Demo, this is such a commonplace for him. We've seen this at least 2 games out of the ones that we've had. Demo just sat top of Dusty. He's just going to peek out the window. He knows he's safe because no one's going to pressure him from here. No one's going to try and take the fight and look for an elimination.
That's a great position to be in, since you have natural high ground from the east. And he's above, 1 damage below the Storm Surge. Remember, the Storm Surge mechanic deals lethal damage if you're not getting above it. And there's, you know, no possibility of just getting out of it unless you get that hit. So having stink grenades is a fantastic thing to play against Storm Surge.
At this point, we're going to see Demo start taking long-range shotgun shots just to get above that threshold. Any damage.
There's someone drifting. Oh, get that
just
guy.
Fire at the sky at anything.
One hit.
We did just see a rift come through as players are starting to move towards this zone. It is Storm 2 going into Storm 3. Starting to see a little bit of congestion around the edges of the lake, but nothing too much to write home about for now. Aim Hero. Going to see if he is the anti-hero for DMO's fans. As Aim Hero, we've heard a lot of talk about this player from South Korea. Now DMO is the one taking the fight to him. Aim Hero needs to be prepared. He has invaded DMO's territory, and now he's going to have to fight. He's wielding that silenced assault rifle for now, and DMO does back away, at least for now.
Well, he would have to, you know, assert dominance. And when he did that, he's just going back to his spot. I mean,
now he's doing it on Flexi. The same thing.
It is important because those people will just let be passive against him. But he's going for the fight.
He edits and actually didn't get punished too hard now, as only 30 health dropped from him. DMO says, okay, maybe I don't need to take this.
You know, remember, he was below the threshold. This is why he got so aggressive.
Exactly, like looking for any damage he could, but as the players have dropped as well, so has that Storm Surge, and a lot of people now in DMO's territory. We've got BloodX, one of the big European players, Bizzle here, who we saw win a game earlier today. Massive name that we're expecting a lot from, and he has already performed quite well. DMO just ended up falling to Flexi.
He was just erased.
Instantly, one shot, another elimination as Flexi takes out DMO, and DMO was playing so confidently on top of Dusty.
I mean, he had a lot of HP, he had a purple shotty as well.
And I'm pretty sure that's out of the elimination rounds here, as we will continue to track this as 72 hours. Is one of the players we were looking coming into this was sat in the top 20. Now will try and get himself into a position and look for more fights. 62 players remain in this game, so that was DMO falling out before the elimination threshold. 72 hours just hit his own ramp with that clinger. Careful, 72. You gotta make sure you don't take yourself out with those clingers. As we continue with Smeeth. Not so bad on the inventory himself. Again, mobility is lacking. It's something we're come to expect from Season 8.
What are you talking? He has a turret.
the static mobility.
It has a seat, you know?
Exactly, exactly. But good to use as a floor piece if ever you want to keep yourself alive.
It's 1k HP on the floor, so if you're getting, you know, just assaulted from the top, you can just still use it as a very good cover. But he was going back mid-throw. 54 HP, but he got a good shot.
Oh! Metro says, sit down, Jesse. Heavy sniper through the wall. Picks him off with that shotgun.
Well, that's where you see Heavy Sniper coming in as after the nerf of the Deagle. Heavy Snipers are going back into the metagame if you just want to go through those builds. And it just destroys anything. Apart from the containers, actually. Because it deals 1k damage.
Good enough to just go through that brick wall, though, and just follow up with that shotgun. Here we can see the players still alive in this game, as Kesa is the player we jump to.
Oh, Nero just eliminated himself. He jumped from 60 meters. There's a cannon.
Here we go.
Remember, you can't move while you're being shot out of it. So there's you here. If you don't have redeploy, he has to redeploy.
He's carrying the redeploy. There is no way he's getting to a safe spot without that redeploy. He was firing all the way through as Keenstar, our points leader, still trying to get himself into the zone.
But I really love the introduction of cannonballs. Like, first of all, it's a new mechanic that we never had in the game before, but it also gives a purpose to the redeploy. So you can actually think about, maybe I should drop those bandages, take the redeploy since I have the possibility of using the cannon. It gives you a lot of mobility that you previously didn't even have the chance to use.
And another Season 8 mobility edition, those volcanic vents. These players were all fighting over one of them as well. They can be so pivotal for those rotations towards the moving zones. And right now, it's a Mentos just trying to peek out anything that he can. You can see Saf is there, Provoked is there. On top of your screen, you've got a few more of the players that haven't been doing so well in the standings.
Jarko's the winner of the Polish tournament last week, just got an elimination as well. He's not doing well so far in this edition, but maybe he will pick up the pace. But now, you were speaking about the volcanic vents. I think it's a great addition to the game because they add objectives, something that we didn't have before.
Airwax, my pick for this tournament, getting taken out early. That's an early elimination comes through, and that vent Bizzle ended up kind of ending on the vent, getting pushed into its own ceiling and having to readjust back out and build in a different spot. So still a long fight over this as we've got Nate, 72 hours, Bizzle. We've got some of North America's best players in this area, all fighting over objectives, but they are not teammates today. This is not North America versus the world. This is everybody versus everybody, and we'll see who can secure this vent.
Oh, there's a lot of players just, bundling up near defense. Great to see because that's a new thing in the meta game. We have people rotating around. What is interesting about the circle is that we have a lot of natural high grounds around the area, but at the same time there's a lot of vents. So being low ground between those hills is not a death sentence anymore, right? A lot of people will be just focusing the different positioning, and you will have the possibility of just going through those deltas.
Starting to get a couple more eliminations, and we are into the points now. 47 players remain. Bizzle hasn't moved. We've got Isa, Zate up on the high ground as well. Jarkos, the Polish winner, is there. 72 hours down in the valley between the mountains. You can
look at Skite down below, sitting comfortably.
Sitting comfortably. Let's see whether the zone moves in his favor as well.
Vivid, there's eliminated Cloud.
Vivid, one of the players that really started showing up last year.
Isa, did you see his equipment? 1 rift, 2 launch pad, and now Zaid, 1 rift, 1 launch pad.
And on top of it, the Sting Grenade as well is going to help. A lot of people underestimate them, but in competitive games, when people are all in these enclosed spaces very commonly, you can get so much damage, and it's a zoning tool. It forces people to move out of where they're hiding, so don't sleep on them in competitive.
Oh, one of my favorite tools in the game, since they provide you defense and offense at the same time.
Clingers down onto Katowice. Talk about offense. Nate's going to take this fight. Doesn't have the health for himself, but when you're in a shotgun duel, it's basically one shot will end up securing it. Nate.
Oh, is he going for it? He's
trying to
going for the peekaboo.
Desperately trying to just get through. He dodged that shot.
There's a set up for him. Oh, he got outplayed so hard.
Katowice ends up taking the elimination on Nate as Jarkos. We're back on again. Those stick grenades draining out that good inventory you were talking about in a great position. And people are going to start to move very shortly. Now we're going to see who has the materials, who has the ability to get into that zone.
Nord has also great equipment, a lot of mats. He's in a fantastic position to get into the later stages of this game. Still 42 players arrive.
And that RPG makes it so difficult for everybody trying to move from those buildings, because they're just constantly going to drop down. And if you get caught out, eliminated early, your points are going to be a whole lot lower than you were hoping for if you were looking for a safe rotation.
You were talking about knocking people down, but this rocket was meant to be lethal.
Norwood trying to pick up another elimination for himself on Madsen, but Madsen is able to secure himself. Chap is in this late game so far. Vivid is here. Skite is here as well. Big names everywhere you look.
Interestingly enough, there's still a lot of materials just lying around, but no one can pick them up. You're in the range of fire if you can just extend your own box. Those materials were just left out in the open. Vic just died.
Yeah, I think
got eliminated.
There is a player that is precariously placed on just like 2 or 3 walls as a bridge, moving through this high ground. Didn't quite catch who it was. I think it might have been Yakos, but we are on with Norwood, who is in a similar situation for himself.
From what I can see here, Bizzle is in a great position, but he's just extending a little bit down towards the circle, but he's being caught off guard right now.
One of the things that I've heard a lot of the casting team talk about is how few materials Bizzle uses when he's actually moving from place to place.
You can see it right now. Not only wood, but also just single floors and single roofs over him.
And while that is risky, one of the things it gives him is just later and later game material usage. He can stay relevant when you get to the last zones. We'll see whether he gets punished though, but it's one of those player traits that we expect to see players start playing around when they know who they're going up against.
I think that's a viable meta choice when you know people typically don't have rocket launchers, but we could have seen he is being actually dropped down by a rocket launcher.
Getting clipped from behind. He's out of RPGs at this point. Had those 2 eliminations to his name, and now people start to go up the side of the hill here as Yakos up on the high ground in a 1x1 built to the skies.
Oh, he just used so much material, so many materials right now, but he's still sitting at 88.
88 builds for Zayt now trying to get pressured by Yakos. This is so dangerous because there's so much ground behind him. Yakos trying to desperately build down, does manage to get himself to safety.
He's sitting at over 100 HP, but all those stink grenades.
Vivid is down, so is Tixi. In the action feed, we can see people are starting to fall. 19 players remain. Traps, you can hear them. It's the fear being put into those that remain. And Bizzle is on the hunt. There's players left, right, and center just trading shots, trading traps, everything.
Fortunately for the players, all of this is in the natural ground. Oh, but he's being bobbed by the floor over him.
Bizzle nearly finds an angle on it, trying to get out of it, and it's Yakos that takes down Bizzle. The Polish champion just took out Bizzle from this game, who had won earlier today. And no more victory royales, at least not for round 4 for Bizzle from this one. Big pickup from Yakos.
This zone is going back into all those builds. If you are being stuck in someone else's builds, it is pretty tough.
We talked before this round about 72 hours. He's still in this game, but barely, because look at the damage he just took on that trade. He was so healthy. I was about to talk about how well he was doing, and Vinny shuts me up in my track. He's so low health now, 72 hours to stay in this late game.
Now take a look at the Issa. He has the ultimate high ground. Great equipment as well. To just take advantage 2 launch pads.
The only problem is low on material, so he has the mobility, but if he's forced to build down, that's one of those areas you can't afford to be dropping down with that glider. But Vinny, he didn't take out 72 hours, but 72 hours died to the storm. What a game Yakos has had so far as well.
For elimination so far on his account, only 2 builds available. He wants to use them as cover for the shotgun pops.
But he doesn't own most of this is the problem. He's not the one, he can't edit down through this, but it is looking like the storm is going backwards. That's some of his building behind him.
Aim hero and history just on the bottom. It's going to be a tough fight for them.
Versus Brazil. International fight down on the low ground. And Yakos, he's looking, trying to peek. He's like, please, somebody just give me an elimination so I can get some materials back. Trap, he's just going to try and make this as dangerous as possible. He got it. He actually picked him up.
Oh no! Oh yes!
The launch pad, Yakos, he drops in. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Yakos, this is such a masterful late game for him for now. It's 3 players remain. Yakos, it's Poland, Brazil, South Korea remain here. The trap is going down. Yakos looks for that trade. Damage as he falls, but into the storm he goes. Yakos, if he can pick up an elimination, that would be it. And Aim Hero is the one down there as Yakos gets trapped in the zone. Yakos is eliminated from this. It's a 1 versus 1. History is taking on Aim Hero. Aim Hero was the one that picked up the elimination from that. Aim Hero does it for South Korea, picks up a 4th elimination and the victory royale.
What a finish. Ooh, so exciting. When I saw Yakos just falling down, I was like, Oh no, he has only 2 builds available. There's nothing to attach to. But he saw the launch pad in this zone. 200 IQ play. Also the trap that he just put.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But let's just talk about the victory round.
Yeah, we got to talk about Aim Hero because this is one of the guys that was talking up a big game on Twitter, talking about how nobody needs to land tilted. Didn't matter whether tilted was part of his game. Aim Hero picks up round 4, victory royale, good late game performance.
We're going to have a look at the standings at the moment, though, gentlemen, because as you can see, the bus is almost ready to launch. And there's been some big changes in this top 10, maybe not from players having fantastic performances in the top 10, but it's kind of some players who were in that 10 to 20. They're having those big games, and they're pushing some of those players that were in that top 10 out of contention now.
Yeah, they're catching up real fast. As we mentioned earlier, 72 hours. He's been slow and steady, playing the turtle game, just slowly munching his way through his competitors and grinding up.
Seen history, though. They're in the top 10. Vivo Brazil, going to see some action from them. We talked about them being the top players from their region, and they're starting to show here, especially if they could come out with like a top 10 finish in solo, top 10 finish maybe tomorrow on in duo. They're looking very good to show the strength that the region does have.
Yeah, certainly going to be some Vamoses in the chat if we see some big performances from the Brazilian guys. You can see all the way down we go as well. Obviously, everyone's still trying to fight for those points. There's a lot of money on the line here for where you place. So even though we're always looking at those top spots, you know, if you get into those placements where you pick up that money, every single spot that you're moving up is just a little bit more in the bank.
So keeping that in mind, there are these thresholds you need to hit to be into the money, right? 17th to 20th takes home 1,000. Then if you break through to 16th, you double up your actual money to 2K. Break through the top 10, you double yet again. And then 5th, 6th takes you to 6,000. You jump up by quite a bit every step thereafter. So if you want to maintain a position or get in a position to win some money, you got to start putting up some good games here because we're almost done with the day.
And this is the big turning point, isn't it? This game here, we've only got a couple of games left after this. So kind of all the mistakes that you might have made or all the games that haven't quite gone your way up to this point, you can't afford those now. This is where you need to put in those bomb performances, like we mentioned, to put yourself into contention for that title.
For sure. Like the last 20 people in this tournament are a real threat to the top 20, though. They're going to be a little bit tilted. They don't have any points. They're going to try desperately to grab at something. So our top contenders have to be careful of these loose elements that are now going to be put into the game.
Okay, well, we have a couple of questions, I believe, actually coming in from social media, possibly for you guys. So prepare yourself. We love putting you guys on the edge. We'll get those coming up as soon as we can. And, ooh, how many different weapons? Oh, no, it's not even social media. You guys are being put under the cosh here. How many different weapons are there currently in Fortnite? Is it A15, B18, C21, or D24?
What's considered
I love
weapon,
how,
right?
None of you pick one straight away,
What's
which is a
considered
fantastic
necessarily
start.
a weapon?
It's a great question, but yeah, I mean,
because the cannon's technically a weapon.
Yeah, but what
but
about utility items? Do they count? Like,
you know what? I'm gonna be the first one out there. I'll do it. I'll go.
Right,
I'll go 21.
21. Okay.
I'll go 21. We'll see.
It's been a lot of weapons. It's been a lot of weapons. I'm going to go 24.
Best bit is, don't even know the answer. I haven't been told the answer.
Yeah, we're not told, which is great.
We'll find out as soon as we can. If you know, of course. Is it 21? Did you get it right?
Yep. I lost my pen, but I got it right.
God. You're going to be unbearable now, aren't you?
Yep, of course. You know me. You know me too well.
Let's not do that again, because Jason, you know, if we pump him out anymore, he's gonna take my job probably at some point. Are you gonna?
Yeah, one day. I'm not quite at him. But no, I mean, there's a lot of weapons. I don't know if that included like volatile weapons or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a trick question. I feel cheated.
You know, it was a legitimate
I didn't answer
question.
it.
It was a good question, and the best guy on the desk got it right.
Okay, I've got another question coming in here, and this is a tweet coming in. Is which do you think matters more, mechanical skill or decision making or positioning, etc.? And that comes in from Tash. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, everybody, but you know, thank you for sending it.
Tashang FN.
There we go.
Mind if I take this one? Well,
Please.
I think decision making is key. It really is. Look at me. Mechanically, I'm, you know, the worst. Let's be honest. Like, I'm very envious of all these top-tier players with their outstanding mechanical skills. But if you make the right decision at the right time and the right rotation, technically you don't have to face any enemies whatsoever. So decision-making is always key.
I'm going to go a different route. I'm going mechanical skill. Because I feel like you can always learn decision-making from experience, but to be a mechanical genius that just naturally knows how to make everything work for you can always play to your advantage.
True, but it can also make you cocky, like you, Jason.
What's wrong with being cocky? What's wrong with being cocky?
Did you lose your pen, by the way?
I did.
Yeah, he got carried away when he realized he got a question
right. I have no idea where it went, but you know what? I'm sure you'll get on your hands and knees to find it for me.
To the side. But obviously now, this is, as I say, no more room for mistakes for these guys. And I believe that we're ready to get into our round number 5, gentlemen. So Jason Kaplan and Zacubus, it's over to you for round 5.
All right, to kick things off, I want to start off with a question here, Zacubus, for you, while I try to find my pen in the meantime. My question to you is, if you're one of these players in a top position, do you go into these games trying to play passive, trying to play a different kind of style to make sure you can guarantee yourself those points into like the top 50? Or do you kind of play the way you've been playing this entire time?
It's really tough. It's really tough when you've got all this pressure on you to you know, make those decisions at the right time. The top tier players will make it in a fraction of a second. But I think for me, if I was in this situation, I would go as passive as I can, just try and gain as much placement as possible. If I've already got a significant point lead, play it safe, play it slow, and only take the fights that you need to take.
I completely agree with you. You know, it's not necessarily the flashiest of players or the coolest of players, but you know what? It's not about being the coolest. It's about getting in that top 10. It's about taking home the trophy and taking home the money. So let's see, you can see Bizzle starting things off. Jarl and Yarkos, I mean, the man we've been talking about from Poland here, the wildcard player, who had no idea he'd be participating even to today when he was playing his match last week, has had a fantastic start and has the opportunity to take home a lot more money if he can break through out of 20th place.
Yeah, he's showing a great performance now. He's kind of warmed up to this crowd. He's got the home crowd behind him as well, and I think he's really stepping up to the challenge here.
Well, we can see Stompy might have some potential action coming his way. As Nate just going to try to farm up some metal here in the meantime. We see the Storm. It's not that far of a run for them, so not too much of a worry, but it seems like these players are playing a passive start here as we're into round 5. Again, realizing you've got to start stepping up now if you want to have a chance.
They just kind of want to farm, leave themselves alone as much as possible, and, you know, find the right fight that suits them. And Stompy actually has a great loadout, but missing that shotgun. Desert Eagle, I mean, the hand cannon even, is, you know, it's obviously been nerfed quite a bit, but it's still not bad. Does a lot of damage, I mean, 75, 150 for the headshot.
I know it's not the hand cannon, but I was watching Ninja last night playing with the scope pistol, and he was doing some serious work with that. So definitely cannot count the pistols out no matter what form they're going to be in. Yeah,
just you feel uneasy in those situations, though, not having that shotgun in that close range, and you've got so many opponents near you. You do feel kind of naked.
And see Myth going to be up against Nord. We saw Nord actually get relatively far in that last match, but he's going to have the pressure from a different kind of beast here coming his way. He's got the shotgun. He's got a really good loadout as well. A couple of clingers in there, a couple of traps to use if he does need.
Yeah, Myth taking the high ground here. He's just going to sit up here and wait for the right opportunity to attack. Going in aggressive on that pyramid. Will he get the edit? No, he's just playing it safe, trying to find the opening, trying to get that floor replaced down there so he can just hack away at his opponent. And here it comes. No, missed the opportunity. Good work from Noad. Gonna dart out on the low ground, turtle himself up a bit. Ooh, attempting a high ground retake, but Myth is way ahead of it. And Myth is now dropping down, gonna repeat the same process, try and find an angle to attack here, Jason, as he slows down a little bit.
Yeah, again, he doesn't have the best of kit Myth here to actually go for this fight. He's up against, I believe that was that blue pump out of nowhere, so he's gonna have to actually respect this. I'm actually curious why he's even taking this fight. Do you have any insights into this?
He could actually dip quite easily out of this right now. I mean, he's in a good position. He has the high ground. His opponent, you know, is going to be not too aware of where he runs off to if he does it early enough. But that is a game changer right there with the clingers coming in, opening up some more view sight there.
Bowman just took down Issa. So Issa was one of, I believe, our top 10 placers in the last round. Has been silent so far. We've actually lost out on 10 players. Madsen as well is going to fall, with Poach getting the early elimination into game number 5. Nowhere again, trying to take that high ground position. He messes up his edit a little bit. Myth actually is going to fall into him. He has the SMG up close and personal. He's really going to have to shield this one away, pop down a couple of walls to protect him, but he's being chased down.
This is game over for Myth, surely. Oh no! The clinger came out too late. The animation takes a while to go away, so obviously Noah has to play really carefully there. That was an epic mistake there from Noah. He had the fight sealed, and he let Myth get away with it.
Well, you can see Sweep here again, the duo from Milan coming in last second. He's had a relatively good sort of start, I'd say, over the course of these 4 rounds. On round 5, you might have a little bit of a different problem with the Vic here. Going to be on high ground, just trying to heal up in the meantime. Nowhere to miss, still going head-to-head. I am honestly amazed that both players have not backed away from this one, but Myth will eventually fall to Nowhere. And Lolito has eliminated himself, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a very weird fight there. going in from Myth. I think he should have dipped out a little bit earlier, play it a little bit safe, but maybe he's trying to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. I respect the play because I think he realizes he's towards like the lower half of the standings. You need to make something happen. You need to get some sort of momentum going on your side to really climb back up the rankings. So a respectable play, I'd say, hands down.
Yeah, and well played to Noah for actually taking that fight and actually claiming it in the end. He had the advantage with the weapons. I felt like he should have captured it a little bit earlier on.
Well, he almost messed up with the Klinger, right? I mean, he came around the corner to the Klinger expecting Mid to not face him, and that almost cost him his life.
The Klingers, they're great if you have the right opportunity, but throwing it in the open like that, when there's an opportunity to attack, you're exposed. You can't build, you can't switch weapon very quickly. So it was the right opportunity for Myth to come back in that fight.
By the way, Aiden did win out on a 1v1 over towards Tilted, so he's trying to make Tilted his own home ground. Milan is out, as you saw in the last few seconds there. Kahuna and Motor. Motor's teammate Eric. Fortunately, it's not alive anymore as he's been falling relatively early. But I think this is an important tournament for him, for Eric Triceps. Just the fact of getting the experience of playing in front of an audience, playing on a stage, you know, get that under your belt. Definitely helps because every player here is focused on duos right now coming into the next 2 days. So get this, you know, get the bad games out of the way now, right, Zacchaeus, and then worry about the real ones tomorrow.
It's definitely a great warm-up, you know. It warms up your own, you know, mechanics. I think you have to be a little bit more mechanical when you're playing solos. There's more threats around you. You've got to quick and dive, dip out of fights all the time, and it puts a lot of pressure on players that aren't as mechanically gifted. But, you know, these guys, they're the top 100, so it's very rare that any of them are in
So you're agreeing with me about mechanically gifted is important?
Yeah, of course, it's always important. You always want a mix of both, Jason. You know, don't twist my words.
That is true. I'm sorry, I'm still just riding the high of, you know, being right with C with 21 weapons in the game.
That head is getting way too big on you.
Well, it'll match my nose, at least for me. Motor, in the meantime, still trying to look for some sort of avenue to fight. Again, he does not have a shotgun, so not the best position for him to be in. But again, I kind of think we're seeing the story of how these games are going. Even if you don't have the best weaponry, you need to make something happen.
It's going to be quite the stalemate here with Motor and Kuna. As you can see, the tomato chucking is happening.
Fantastic form as you see Motor.
It is. Well played, lads.
Great little overhand pitch. I think we clocked that one in at about 90 miles an hour.
It'd be very interesting to see a Klinger play happen here. Chuck a couple of Klingers on the top of it, force the equation out. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think he's just happy to sit out the timer and rotate a little bit later, but we'll switch back to them maybe in a bit.
I'm glad you chimed in there, because I could not remember how many kilometers per hour 90 miles per hour is. Anyway, Zayt in the meantime, he's got the legendary Chug Jug here. He's got the shotgun. His kit is decent. He also has a launch pad to get away if he needs to. But look at that little edit coming through. He tags him up, but doesn't do that much damage to him. So now, going to go for the Chug Jug. Tajovsky can hear this, but Tajovsky's not going to go for the engagement just yet.
Tajovsky has to go deep in this. I think he needs to push this fight back. We've got a third contender coming up on the top. I believe it's the Korean player, Shinu. And, going in for Tajovsky. This is really bad. And Zayt managed to get off that Chug Jug, no problem.
Yeah. Surprised he wasn't pressured, actually, but I guess it was smart in the end, considering we had the third party come through. Sinnoh's going to be looking for that avenue. Maybe it's going to be above. Zayt, I think, is hoping Tajovsky's going to come in. Now it's a fourth party. It's actually going to be Envy. It's another meta player going to be coming in here to make something happen. As we see the Dynamite coming through. Tajovsky's been able to disengage completely. We even have Marky in the general vicinity looking to come in as well. It's just coming down to a giant WrestleMania here.
This is a Battle Royale in its finest, and that's Envy. And oh, he just got lasered by his own teammate. This is desperate, and the Klingers are coming on the top. The sabotage from the Korean team here. They're knocking each other out. But that's just the way the world goes.
The way the cookie crumbles here in Fortnite as we still see the Klingers coming through. Envy is going to be running around the corner yet again. Zayt going to be shooting from the window. It seems like no one's going to be free at all in this situation here. But I think Zayt's going to be happy in his position. He still got some decent ammo. He's got the health to work with here. He's got other players fighting, so he's not the one to force to do so. Now he's just going to look to back away here and escape this.
Great move actually coming in there from Zayt. Really, really good move. Just get out of that mess. It was getting a little bit too hectic. And oh, the shotgun exchange. Great timing there for Envy. As he went for the pickaxe play and the replace, he took a shotgun to the face.
So let's talk about that really quickly then. Because if you're in that situation, if you're Envy, forget about his health right now. You have those two plays, right? You can keep trying to replace your own ceiling over and over again, or you can go for the shot and give up control of that wall.
Mix it up. Keep doing the, keep building, keep turbo building on that floor platform, and then when your opponent keeps doing it, relaxes a bit more into it, like you're not going to push out. That's the timing. Right. That's when you're going to trick him, give him the little 1-2 shotgun play.
Well, it worked. You could not see how low Sinnoh was going to be here at Envy, still living to fight another day here in round 5. Surprised, because we've had, was it 4 players here fighting? 2 have been able to get away. And it's just left to the Koreans now to see who gets crowned victor in this little skirmish.
Is pushing in. This is going to end the equation surely right now, as Sinnoh is in the better position in terms of health. Can he find it? He does! Gets that long-awaited elimination. Well played. And finally he can resupply a little bit.
Yeah.
He desperately needed it, but is that Nowood coming in with the drift board above?
Well, he's going to be coming in. Not sure if he's going to be able to pick up that elimination. Again, we see Tayovsky, Kuna, Motor, and Marky as well. Even Tixi. We have 5 players here currently. Just trying to buy some time here, though. In the meantime, looks like Marky wants to be the one to push up. Let me get a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more control. He's even using metal here, most importantly. And you can see a lot of players are already pretty much inside of the zone anyway, so it's not too big of a transition out of these players. Not too big of a rotation. Trying to look through the list if there's anyone kind of key within the top 10 that has been dropped. And generally, as we expected, top 20 players are, for the most part, alive.
Yep, still rocking it safe. All to play for still in this tournament. Ares and Item. Oh, Item's just playing it real cool down low, but oh, Vivax comes in. Vivax comes in, does take some damage. Was that somebody shot him? I think it was Ares coming in with some damage.
X8 taking down Yarkos, so he's going to be out of this fight. He won't have a chance to continue his ranking up to the 29th. For this 1v1v1 battle now breaking out here.
This is an opportunity for Item, to be honest. If he can find the right timing on both of these players to get those crucial last hits, he's going to be in a golden position. Item is actually doing incredibly well in the leaderboard, making at least top 6 right now.
Yeah, he's number 7.
Incredibly consistent. I think he's held that position for about 3 rounds now.
And he's done it kind of quietly, funny enough. Ares, he's going to fall from this as Vilux gets his elimination on the board here. Jesse, in the meantime, looking to get aggressive here with the Stink Bomb. Saipan is going to be his prey, potentially. And hearing a couple of shots being routed off here. And he's actually being shot from behind down to 46 health. He actually drops back into him, and he's going to fall from that aggressive play. Jesse going to be eliminated by Saipan, who's going to be more than happy to have that third-party assist come through.
Zapan showing what the EU's made of. The Oceanic region are suffering a little bit in the solos. I was hoping for them to be the underdog story here. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Fato taking some AR shots. And we're back on Sinnoh. One by one in the low river here. Rotated in. I think he's just going to want to play it cool here. He has that rift to go. He's going to want to save that. But he's lacking a lot of shield there.
Yeah, but we know how it works here with the Siphon system. Just get that elimination. Can get some shield built up for you. A lot of dynamite here for Saipan. As the storm does start to close around. It's actually the circle between Shifty and Tilted along the river, as you can mostly see here on the minimap. Meantime, Stompy and Power. Potentially going to have a little bit of skirmish here too, Zachabas.
Yeah, I think Stompy's going to be okay there. I think he's just going to hold his ground, wait a little bit. Going for the run now. Trying to find a better rotation here. He's already in the circle, but I think he just wants to get more central for that next circle. That's what he cares about here. Get away from Power as much as possible. He's taken a couple of AR shots from the Na'Vi boys, which happen to be right next to each other, so that's going to be an interesting skirmish.
Kenstar, as you can see, still alive. Kripa as well. Demento, 72 hours to the left-hand side of your screen. Smeeth is in here still as well. And Sap, who's had such a rough solo tournament so far after his second place finish at the Secret Skirmish. Looking to change his stars here as he does take down Crazy Llama.
Hopefully he can get these last 2 games under his belt, get some momentum, and maybe have a surprise rise to the top. But you never know. History are 5th place at the moment, doing really well for Brazil right now.
All right, well, you got Kinstar in a high position. You got Poach across the river here as Nate's there as well, up close and personal. 72 hours trying to edge his way in closer to this skirmish. History's under some pressure now, being tagged up quite a bit. Down to 66 shield left.
Yeah. I think he was actually getting lasered from the side there too. Bit of third-party action coming in. Crippler. You know, just showing off some moves, you know, playing it slow again. He knows that History's not going to try and push into him, especially when he just took that damage. The play has slowed down a lot, but the zone has not.
Well, History, the zone, speaking of, it's actually going to close in right behind him, so he will be fine for now. But I think he's going to have to make a move momentarily. Kinstar still sitting quietly in his humble abode here built up. And Sweep's looking to transition a little bit closer towards where the next zone will be.
Dynamite coming in to change the equation from above. Keenstar chucking it in from distance onto Cripper. Big damage coming in, but only to builds. History and Cripper managed to separate in their own directions and going to play it a little bit safe and not wanting to do anything, but Keenstar is having none of it. He wants to catch up after that last game. He's dropped down to 2nd place now, and now it's looking to get some elimination points on the go.
We have lost both Na'Vi players, though. Aspect able to clean up Alpha, and Aspect's been having a very rough match. History actually turns around against Dementos, so that 1v1 that's happening for is not really going to come into fruition just yet. And look at Andiza. That position over towards the top of the mountain. I mean, he's going to have to move eventually. But still, he's able to laser down on quite a few players transitioning on the rotation.
Probably has a redeploy or some form of movement tool that can help him get across the map, no problem. But Keenstar does not. He's naked here, running through the river. But luckily, everybody is rotating a little bit early here in the circle, and he's got away with it so far.
See Svenos and Aiden here still alive on top of things. Jarl just trying to get out of this rough spot, as we do see a lot of things being thrown his direction with the Dynamite. Svenos looks like he wants to use the Rift here, and he will actually pop this one off, so not going to save it for later on. But again, realizing he needs to have a easier rotation instead of taking too much damage, losing too much materials.
Everybody was trying to dive into that Rift. It got a little bit hectic. Aiden then was forced to use his jump pad instead. Very interesting. Svenos didn't even try to make any form of movement in terms of just running through the ground, you know, gaining ground through natural causes. He decides to go with a safe play with a Rift. Obviously, you want to save it as late as possible for, you know, that high ground control later on. But, you know, he'd rather not take any early damage.
Well, and Dees, as we pointed out before, on that high ground of the mountain, has been eliminated. So it looks like his rotation did not go successfully. But Item, you already pointed out before, Zacchaeus, he's still alive here on the low ground, currently in 7th place overall in the standings. He's in the money, currently sitting at $4,000 in his pocket. But Saf, that's the man I really want to see. This is the man I had pitted to win the whole thing when it comes to solos. He's got that one elimination and almost has that 2nd.
Yep, I saw your predictions on Twitter, but it seems like it might not come to fruition unless things can change up here for Saf. Unless he can kick up the pace here. Really desperately, he's going aggro here on Smith. He knows he's low. And oh, that's heartbreaking. Unfortunately, his elimination was just removed from him as somebody else comes in with a 3rd party and snatches it away.
Unfortunate for him, but I still think he'll be happy to just live to fight another day. We can see the Rift being used. Vato jumps in as well. I think Kinslow's going to go here and maybe hop into it too, or maybe just protect it a little bit more to bait anyone in. Demo, not in the best position, as you can see him on the left-hand side of your screen. But we see the circle. It's going to be actually moving away from the mountain. It'll be partially in it, yes. The majority of it is over towards the valley of that river. So high ground going to come in very key here. You do not want to fight in that water.
Got to be really careful with your map control here. We've got a supply drop coming in here on Chap. This is a godsend, providing those stickies don't knock him down. And they don't. Luckily, he's okay. He was a little bit cautious there, obviously so. But here's where it's really important, Jason. This is where you need map survival skills. You need to save them as long as possible, especially with a mountain that could potentially be in the final circles.
And Chap only has 3 builds left too, so he's got to hope for something really good inside of this supply drop. Hope for some eliminations. Speaking of limbs, Bloodx, long-range shotgun. Not going to net him any damage, but he's going to have to start to rotate here into the circle momentarily. 47 players left alive here in round 5. He's actually going to head to the outside of the zone for the launch pad. So nice little usage, though the problem is he's down to 29 health.
He took a lot of damage, but that should guarantee him a spot to land in the circle, providing that he's not focused while he is in the air. Again, a lot of clingers coming out down onto Kaiser there. But I think he's going to be okay. I think he dipped back into it a little bit deeper of his build.
It's starting to feel like this game we might have a repeat winner. We still got Keenstar alive. I believe we do have Aim Hero still alive as well. Bizzle's still going to be in there, who won our round 1. Even potentially looking for an edit up here, as the Storm now going to be moving up towards the northeast side. He's actually going to be spotted out. Does get knocked down, but he has the 2 eliminations for himself. Jules has fallen, so that was game 3 winner.
This is massive for Bizzle right now. He needs to maintain this good passive play until that late game, and it's going to kick off on this next circle. It's one hell of a run, Jason, as they have to come off the hill, I believe. So Bizzle hopefully has the items. I think he did have a jump pad as well, so we'll see how he uses it here.
There we go, Rift's being used. Bloodaxe trying to push in from the high position. Bizzle, yep, jump pad like you said, going to be using this to actually get across a little bit closer to the Storm and go to where their buildings have already been used before. so he can maintain the high ground. Look how much material he has to still build with here. That's something we talked about now all day, and how good he is at maintaining his materials when we get to these later edges of the game when you need to be able to maintain high ground position.
Margin's caught out at the backside of the circle, rotating in a little bit late, wasting a lot of mats here. This could be potentially bad for him a little bit later on in the game.
Oh my gosh, everyone is trying to fight for that high ground spot. You can see Aiden trying to defend it as Bizzle's going to be here on top of things as well. He's still got the shotgun to use. Stompy's now down. Item's going to be out of this one. So that 7th place he currently does have could change a little bit though. I don't think it would change too much now with him dropping a little bit early on. But Vato, he's got the ultimate high ground here, Zacchaeus.
He does, and what a good position to be in, but has to be careful. Imagine on his tail there, but is getting knocked back down. Good work from Vato, putting the pressure on, pushing him down further into the builds. And there we have Liquid Vivid getting knocked out.
Yeah, Bizzle got him on that. Chap's going to fall as well. Seth's out of this one. Great little shot out of Vato to maintain his position with his first elimination in this round now under that belt. Morgan, as you mentioned before, he's still here. He's still fighting. He's still looking to transition to stay safe here. The Vic going to back away to go into a rift, so now he'll be on the high ground safe for a while. Saf going to be on the low ground. As you can see, he has Mitro off to his side to potentially force a fight.
Bizzle's still in this. He's going big. He's going for the high ground. No, he's dipped out. He's going to try and knock his opponent down. Vato in a bad position, but now pressure coming in from Bizzle from all sides. He has to slow down his aggression and find another way to claim that high ground.
He's used basically 100 builds since we last talked about him. That's how crazy things have been with him trying to maintain or trying to get a high ground position. You can see Vato, 58 builds left for him. Saf has fallen to Mitro this time. And Mitro going to be looking for a top 10 finish potentially. Aspect going to be low on the low ground as well.
Margin, our 3rd place, in a really bad position here, and he's going to go down. Oh, I believe that was Funk Bomb that actually claimed that one there, and that is devastating for him. Obviously holding the 3rd place, and there's still a load of people to play for here.
I was just about to mention that Jordan, we still have some Aussie hope, but he was eliminated by Aiden here as you see him on the screen, trying to battle for the high ground side. Vato, he's still there. He's still got 33 builds left. He's going to be running out. He's going to have a challenge, though. It's going to be Scram trying to look for this elimination somehow. Vato, how can he fight back from this one? He still has some shield he could pop here with the small shields, but he needs the time.
He needs the space. Aiden, I think this is the latest circle that we've ever seen him at. Usually an early game warrior, but really providing. But Bizzle now out of mats, Jason.
He's out of mats. He's got to find some sort of avenue back into this one, and just like that, he gets the elimination. He gets some damage done with Vato, but he's going to fall himself, eliminating himself out of the fight here in round 5. Scram. Now he's going to be the one on the high ground with just a couple players left alive. Aiden, as you mentioned before, he's still here. He's still fighting. He's in the storm at the moment. I don't think he's about to get back into this one, so eventually he will fall. But Mitro's there, and Mitro has another limb. Aiden has fallen. And so is Mitro.
Yeah, Mitro's going out big right now. He's been a bit of a surprise. This is a classic Mitro. He always seems to find himself hidden in the middle of this mess and come out on top. And this is his game to take right now.
See Scram, 3 eliminations. He's got high ground position 2. It's going to be Black Shoe and the Vic. We're definitely going to have a new victor here coming into round 5. You would imagine these two on the bottom side are going to have to battle out against each other, trying to transition out with the Storm. Black Shoe almost being walled off completely as he's trying to just stay healthy here, trying to stay out of that damage that's going to be taken away. The Vic down to half HP as well. Scram, thing is, like, he's in this position where he could potentially shoot down, could fight, but there's so much building everywhere, he doesn't have a clean shot.
Black's at the very bottom of this build. Scram has the great high ground here, and now it's just going to build towards the circle, play it slow, find the right shots here. He just has to play this so smooth and so slow, Jason.
Yeah, he's almost at a disadvantageous position up because he does have his opponent with a lot more HP. He's not able to hit that first shot. 12 builds, 10 builds remain. He's in the storm. He's taking damage. He jumps in. He's going to catch himself midair with 7 builds left to go, but he's down to about 77 HP, now down to 37, and the shots from below won't matter. So it looks like the storm has done the damage anyways. And we will see Scram take his first victory royale.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm just hearing in my ears, actually. I'm getting a rundown of the points. I'm here with Scram right now. He is, I mean, we've just been talking off camera there. This feels amazing to you. You're kind of shaking. Tell us how you're feeling emotionally right now.
I'm so happy. I can't express it. I'm shaking so much right now. It's so intense, the games we're playing right now. It's crazy competition.
I'm hearing right now that I think you've gone up to 3rd position in our leaderboard, which is insane. Congrats, man. You can see how healthy you are. Tell us about the game itself. What was it like playing in it? It looked utterly nutty. It looked crazy to be part of it. How did it feel to actually play that?
Of course, you got to think a lot about what you do and how you rotate. There's people everywhere. Like, all these players are really, really good, and everyone can win this game. So you got to think a lot about how you rotate and where not to get shot. And yeah, I guess high ground is just OP as well. That's about it.
It's all about the high ground, baby. You know, as well, we were talking to the guys upstairs, we're talking all about strategy at this point in the competition, and a couple of rounds to go now. Strategy-wise, do you keep doing what you're doing, or do you change things up towards the end?
I keep doing what I'm doing. It works out for me, and it's just don't fight mid-game. That's what I learned from some of the test games and some of these games as well, because you'll just get screwed no matter what. So yeah.
Now you've got some wind in your sails as well. You're coming off the back of that Game 5 victory. I'm going to ask you, Scram, do you think you can go all the way to the victory, to this trophy?
Yes, obviously.
There we go. Guys, give it up again for Scram! Congratulations, buddy. Unbelievable, unbelievable scenes here. Let's head back to Mark. Guys, Game 5, what an absolute beauty.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Katowice Royale. 5 games done, 2 to go, and very much all still to play for. The leaderboards could not be tighter, and there is still no decided winner. So what we're going to do now is, before we get into our last 2 games, we're going to find out a little bit more about our players. We had a little bit of fun with them earlier, and we saw how much they know about each other. So let's check it out.
I'm going to say yes to that.
Yes.
No.
He said yes first, but then he's never practiced it, so he said no. Correct?
Nice. Yep.
Yes. I think that he doesn't get tilted easily, but he might get tilted because of like some things sometimes, so I'll say yeah. Like, he gets tilted about some things easily, but not everything. So yeah. No? Okay, see, I was wrong, but I was right at the same time, kind of.
Yeah, he does. I'm gonna say no, he doesn't.
No. Never.
Never.
All right then, guys. Obviously, communication, very important. Teamwork, very important. And we could see some of our duo pairings there, maybe not knowing quite as much as we might have thought they did about each other.
He was right, but he wasn't right. But he was right. He was right, definitely.
I'm confused.
I think we're all confused. I think we're all confused. And one thing that isn't too confusing at the moment is the fact that anyone can still win this thing today. We've got so many players still involved, so many players still within striking distance, the term we've used quite a lot in the last few days. Who could win this? I mean, the 2 that you wanted to talk about are the 2 at the top of the leaderboards who have been trading places, of course, in Bizzle and Magic.
Yeah, Bizzle, Magic trading places, trading blows all throughout the standings. They were... Bizzle was in second the first game, then he dropped out. Now he's coming back. He's actually in first now, and he's up against Magin in second. And really, this is what solidifies the last game, right? That going into this, everybody in the top 10, top 15 still has a chance, right? They could still have 2 monster games and come back. But after this game, it's all down to the 1 more, right? And that's all you can do. So the top 5 is pretty much going to be solidified.
You know what's interesting to me is if you look at the top 5 with Bizzle, Magan, Scram, Funkbomb, and Vinny, only one of those players actually has a victory out under their belt over the course of these 5 rounds. So that's really showing how this format, how these eliminations, and how the placing of consistently getting into these top 10 situations is really going to affect your overall location.
And Funkbomb and Vinny, 2 players there who, you know, Vinny we kind of highlighted before the last game as sort of creeping his way up there, but Funkbomb's done something very similar. Baller. He's found his way into that conversation, that top 5, and another big game from him, Ed, that maybe a victory royale at this point in the tournament, timing it right, that could be huge for him now.
Same thing with Scram. Obviously, it's different, right? Funkbomb is kind of playing consistently in terms of placement. Scram kind of just had a big game last one. And the other guy I want to touch on as well is Vivid coming through. He was all the way in 60th or something like that after our first 2 games. He's up to 15th right now, and we'll see if he's going to be able to go all the way through there.
We saw Aiden moving up a lot of places as well after he got to the end game there. I think he picked up 5 eliminations as well in that last game. So it's not just the top players we talked about as well who are obviously vying for that top spot. We're talking about players moving up the placements, moving up those money placements as well.
I think it's important to remember, though, a lot of these players aren't really, well, I think there's a number of them who aren't really solo players. They're more of team players, more of duo players. And they're obviously going to be focused on to tomorrow's games to when those duo matches kick off. So we're seeing, I mean, if you're Bizzle, who does well in solos and duos, you're obviously going to be happy about it. But I feel like we can't necessarily take some of these rankings too harsh I think when we get into tomorrow and Sunday is when we're really going to see who's the best of the best.
And I think you're going to see all these players as they're setting up at the moment, getting ready for this penultimate game of the day in the solos competition as well. Maybe there's not as many smiles as we saw at the start of the day. Everyone's kind of like focusing up now and thinking, I've just got to deal with the job in hand.
It's all seriousness. Like I said, this is really the last game to solidify your opportunity for that first place. Another guy as well, History, one of those Brazilian players, he's in 6th. He has that opportunity. He's had a big game. He needs another one, really.
And here we go then, gentlemen, for the penultimate time today. Katowice, I want you to get behind these players as well. Make some noise for them as we go into our round number 6.
All right, thank you very much, On Set. And yes, Ball, our first time cast together. And will we have, for the first time, a second victory Royale for one of these players? Bizzle obviously going to be one of the players who's really focusing on potentially getting one of these and really solidifying that spot in number 1.
Yeah, here he is in Dusty Divot. This is a secret to success. Myth taking out Norwood, and actually Funk Bomb going down in the feed as well. He's in, I think he's in 4th right there.
Well, he was. I don't think he's going to be there anymore after that. We talked about him as really climbing up the standings and all of a sudden shooting up into top 5. But with that elimination, he's going to be hurt.
Yeah. And here we're actually just looking at the map all around. We talked about Bizzle. He's uncontested in Divot. That's one of his strengths. When he is uncontested there, really doing well. But Tilted actually had something like 6 players there. So we're really starting to see things heat up. A lot of players starting to mix it up and go for those kind of risky drops.
I mean, the thing is, you're obviously a very highly competitive player and a very good player. If you're in this kind of tournament, are you looking at this if you're not in top 50 or even in top 40 with arm grasp of the top 20 position? Are you trying to spoil people's chances by trying to get aggressive and trying to maybe contest their spots that they normally wouldn't expect someone to be there?
No, definitely not trying to spoil if I'm not in contention, but I am trying to still get into contention for that, for that money, or for that prize regardless, up into that top 20. That's where I'm trying to reach. And going Tilted is a way to do that, right? Remember, there's 2 games, and outside of the top 20 is really not, it's always volatile. We saw that in the Polish event. It's very, very volatile because people aren't scoring points every single game.
And you can kind of play like you've got nothing to lose almost at that sense of...
Exactly.
If we can't, you know, if I can't break top 20, then let's just go ham and go crazy. Kilos, in the meantime, going to get a couple of clingers here, potentially going to trade out that infantry rifle, which he will do just that. Jarko, so man, we've been talking about a ton, has had a relatively quiet last match. Looking obviously change his stars here to get it to
so good here. Hardcore's just completely obliterating the bottom floor of that treehouse there, or of that, yeah, the treehouse. And now he's on to Jaro. Let's see if Jaro can come back from the back foot here. He did escape that basement. That was really strong, really smart from him.
He's got the shotgun. He's got an opportunity. He does get the replace. He gets the shot. He's on a 5 HP though. And he will pay the price.
That's the end of Hardcore's there. We're talking about how he was clawing his way into the standings. And now over towards the desert, and Diza on the edge.
He just recently picked up an elimination. I didn't see who it was on to, but an elimination nonetheless. And he's got a pretty decent K, at least in terms of weapons. So we could use some healing items here.
We'll see. Now, all the early game action is starting to really heat up. We'll see if any of the other hot spots like Retail, Tilted, Paradise are all starting to finish up. But here's Nikov. Nikov was one of our leaders early as well, and now it's Fox on the camo in that Shifty Shafts. The house is right on the edge. And it's all camo right now. Fox trying to heal up, and he does actually connect. You saw him place the wall and the floor there to connect it in 2 different spots. Camo working on it, but Fox with the nice edit there.
That tac shotgun's gonna need to do some serious work here. As just gonna have the SMG there back. You can see him trying to pop his big shield here the best he can. The tac shotgun comes in, but hey, the tac shotgun's not as good as the pump. And Camo with the disrespect as well. He gets the elim.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Whenever you're going up against a pump with no shield, it can always change right in a blink of an eye, and that's what's going to happen. But here, Katowice in the Stompy, in that Frosty.
He's in the stink. He's in the stink down to 27 HP. He's trying to turbo build as well to stop himself from being eliminated. Not trying to edit his way out, which he does get some distance, but distance won't get you free here. Stompy, 104 HP, is looking just for a different angle to fight with, and maybe this is opportunity to actually just back away for now. I think as he wants this elimination, even some clingers being thrown into, I don't know why, if you're Kilos, you're to do that.
Yeah, Katowice there, when he was stunk, he had the campfire going, so he realized he could just back off, but he's got to be careful now. He can come through the top, Stompy that is, and he's on the back foot, but one of the things that impressed me so much about these players at Frosty, Katowice took out Nate Hill with such an impressive fashion. He's really good out of a box.
Here we go, trying to edit above him. can see that he's just expecting it to be there too, trying to potentially back away the trap being thrown down. It will halt the push out of Stompy, who eats a hell of a lot of damage there, now down to 57 HP, being forced to pop these small shields as Kilos might use this opportunity to get aggressive, might use this opportunity to actually catch him off guard.
He's so low. He's only at 2 HP right now. And they're actually both so low. One shot could make the difference here in this fight. And again, Kill is so strong out of that box. He's bandaging up. Actually, Stompy right now running out of ammo, so I think he might decide to back up. He can still do this with this loadout. Oh, actually finding the stinks. This could be huge, Jason.
It could be, if he can just catch on Kilos locked into that building here. He does take the high ground. He's actually above him with the stink bomb. It's not going to connect onto Kilos, though, unfortunately. He won't see the damage ticks. He knows that Kilos is safe for now. And in the meantime, those bandages that Kilos was able to get with his transition to that second floor has got him back fairly decent in HP.
Yeah. And there, Stompy trying to find him there with the stinks. He's not going to be able to. They do have the zone, so they have plenty of room to fight here for the remaining time. He still can use these stinks to kind of just find out where he is, right? If he gets one tick, even if it's only one tick, that's the information he needs to know exactly where he is.
And what's so funny, this fight's been going on for so long, and yet we've had no eliminations really around the board from anyone else. Aspect, unfortunately, has fallen to Seth there. And Kilos, I don't know how he's still fighting away from this one. He was down to 2 health, and he's back up to 75, and he might have an opportunity to turn this around on Stompy's head as Stompy's looking to find him yet again. The thing is, time is taken away, and time that you're fighting is time you're not farming materials, it's not picking up weapons, not getting more ammo, which is still going to be low on.
That's a very good point, Jason. And also, oh, actually hopping in, Imagine is in a fight right here on the edge of Loot Lake. I'm hoping this isn't his teammate. No, it's Envy and Lil J. A lot of the Asian players in this area right now.
Oh, and some dynamite thrown in.
We actually saw Lil J's teammate do exactly the same thing with grenade launcher early on in the game. And really, he just likes to force the issue for other players, right? Envy versus Imagine. He's like, guys, fight. Come on, I want you to fight so I can just take shots at you.
Let me help you guys force an elimination so I can come in and steal one away. He actually was interrupted while I was using the legendary Chug Jug. He's eventually going to get it off, though, it seems, after about 15 seconds of time. So he will have that 200 HP to work with. He still does not have a pump shotgun, though. And he knows there's 2 players here in the vicinity that he has to really respect and be careful of.
Actually, Imagine is one of the only players I know who really prefers the tac shotgun. I've watched him a lot. I haven't watched him recently, but always preferring that tac shotgun just because of the rate of fire, I guess, in terms of that.
My man. My man. I'm all about that. I don't have the aim that some of these kids here playing do have.
Jason's
I'm more of a
tac boy.
Yeah, I'm more of a brain player, and well, when your brain's as small as mine, you're not really doing much playing, I guess. Rizart, in the meantime, going to be up against 7 SSK7.
It's a risky peek there, the left shoulder. He's got to be careful. Oh, and he does manage to actually switch the peek onto Rizart. Takes him out. Nice play there from SSK7. But he's in the zone. He has to find a way out. Again, we see all these players fighting in the zone right on the edge sometimes. They always need to have a plan to get back into the zone. We'll see what he decides to do, but again, only ticking for 1. He has the opportunity there. This is still a stalemate here.
And now Morgan's like, all right, I'm going to just sit here and let you 2 fight it out since Lil J's been the one just interrupting our skirmish.
But it's an issue for Imagine, right? Because actually, Envy has taken a position that's going to pinch Imagine between Lil J and Envy. So nice play there by Envy, but Lil J says, actually, no, I don't want to duo up on Imagine. I just want to make this a nice, even fight. Let's be a gentleman. And he takes some shots on Envy. Again, scary position there for Imagine.
Yeah. I think as you can see, Lolito as well, still going to be potentially coming in here in a moment's time. Zeke, one of our Polish players, does get the shot, gets the elimination.
What a shot there from Zeke. Just drops down and immediately takes it to the face there. Nice play. SSK7 goes down. That's one of the other issues about going on the zone. People can stay in, and I think Zeke actually ran ahead of them and managed to take him out there when he came through.
I think Morgan's taken some damage. He's lost some shield.
Yeah.
Envy, we saw, took a couple of shots from Lil J just from across the way here, just a little bit earlier on as well. So it seems like everyone is fighting everyone here in this little 3-way skirmish.
Really tough position, especially because he has 2 players who don't have any intention of moving. Fortunately for them, the zone is not that far. It is all the way towards Tilted, so they have to get across the lake. And Chat here grabbing a rift. He's low on HP, but that's going to be okay. Just have those 2 big pots. If you can find something to heal back up in terms of what we call white health, and he's going to be in good shape for the end game.
Looks like again, he has push though.
But imagine he spots the launch pad, I think, that this other player had, and now it's Envy versus Lil J.
I think Lil J got a little impatient here. He wants the elimination. He wants to get 1 on the board in round number 6. Going to be popping one of the small shields. He's going to be knocked down before he can even get this one off, so he's going to be forced to build back up here. 42 builds left to go.
That's his opportunity to escape there. As soon as those players come out, Magin just was waiting for that. He was saying, okay, when can I go? And he's actually going to find the launch pad from Lil J here that he used to actually engage there. He's going to take a few shots and then get out of here. That's Magin's idea right now, as those players are not going to be able to do anything to Magin.
Do it.
There is a launch pad nearby for these guys, so they have the escape plan, but this fight needs to end now.
I want to see him almost go in there and fight them, actually. In the meantime, Lil J trying to transition across the water. Like I said, Magan has backed away from this one, so he gets a little bit lucky from being in the pincer position. He does get himself away, and Envy has won the battle. Yeah,
Envy taking it there. Actually, so just a little note on the Chinese scene. They do play a little bit of a different format where eliminations are very, very heavily incentivized. So that's kind of the style that they play over there, making sure they get those elims, making sure that they hold as long as possible for the opportunities there. And now you can see everybody spread around the zone. Let's see Animal's still up. Vinny's up. Who else is in contention right now?
You got Vivid still alive. You got Mizo in there as well. Bizzle, Demo. A lot of players
Magin still up. Obviously, we saw him get away.
We're going to see Lama here. One of our Japanese players. I think one of our 2 Japanese players, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Him and his teammate Rizart. One of the 2 Japanese players here. Lama, we see a little bit more than Rizart. We saw Rizart get I think he was eliminated by SSK7 earlier.
Yeah, then SSK7 did fall right after that. Vinny, though, that's definitely one of the players who's currently ranked 5 at the moment. He fell from 1st to 5th in the last round. He needs to have a good game here.
Yeah, Vinny is one of the players who's doing the most in terms of getting eliminations in the end game. He's always getting towards that end game, and he's always finding tons of elims. We haven't seen much of him on our feed, but he is doing so well with that.
See,
check Magin again.
He still just seems, wherever he is, there seems to be always someone fighting in his direction.
And that's going to be rough for him, especially if they realize he's there. He's actually trying to get over to him, but no, he's going to get shot right back. And Magin takes advantage, actually. He might decide to push. He kind of has to push. Look at his materials, Jason. He's kind of running it low. So he knows his player's low. He's going to push all the way under. See what he can do on the he's in zone. That's very important. And he actually gets in his box.
It's in the zone, but the thing is, he still has only the tack. Does he have the damage to take down Skix here? Or sorry, Miz, right above him.
Might do. Just got to be careful with the edits. He did pick up a little bit of mats, so it's going to buy him a little bit more time. But if he does not take out Miz, and if he does not have mats for him, or any sort of loadout, but look who's lurking in the back. It's Envy, and he's again going to bring it to them.
Took out Little J.
There it is. Magin got it. That's very important. He's
Stop celebrating. There's more people. You're not safe yet. I know you want to dance. We still got Envy here, who's coming back for seconds. He's coming back to finish off what he started earlier on. I think Magan immediately re-notices this and does start to focus up here because he needs this elimination, especially with his position at number 2. If he wants to dethrone Bizzle and take that first place away, he's going to need this elim. He's going to need to escape this one.
They're both holding edits with the box in between. You can see Envy doing a little bit of flip in the background, starting to throw the tomatoes. It's a dance-off, Jason. But
the breakdance fighting.
Oh, my goodness. So Magin is not getting let go. Actually, here comes Envy. He says, maybe I do want to push this. But I think it's the point in time where people are starting to realize that third circle's starting to close. They're starting to realize there's so much congestion getting all around. There's actually less players than we would be used to. Just trying to replace that wall down now.
Well, you heard Scram earlier on in the interview with Adam. He was saying he learned to not fight mid-game. Yeah. There's almost no point for him to do it because if you fall here, you're out of the top 50, you're out of points.
But one of the things, though, they're in a box on low ground, and because of this, nobody else can really tell that they're actually fighting. So imagine here, really, nobody's letting him go. He's just going to continue to dance, try to dance him off. Say, go away, man. I don't want to fight you. Come on. You already chased me one time in Loot Lake. Come on, man.
Well, speaking of chasing, Kinstar has been chasing back for a top position since he fell earlier on when he did have number 1 winning round 2. Yeah. If you're just joining us and missed out on that. He's looking pretty here with his HP, but his weaponry is still a little bit lacking, but he has so much shield to work with here.
Yeah, the French community, the French-speaking community did so well early on, but they've kind of all fallen off a little bit. They're still in that top 10 area, and they can come right back up into this.
I'm going to hit you with a stat real quick, okay?
Okay.
Kind of a stat. So we looked at the amount of players, and we looked at how many countries, right? 28 countries, 17 players out of the 100 are from the US, 6 from the UK, 7 from Sweden, and 12 from France. I did not realize we have so many French participants here.
Yeah, the French scene is absolutely dominant from the beginning, and this is the guy who actually led the charge, Kinstar, one of the stars of the French community. That was terrible, wasn't it?
Nah, it was good. I like it. At least you didn't dab like on set here next to me.
Oh my goodness.
Meantime, Milan here, top of the clock tower. Again, the prodigy that everyone's been talking about. Again, hasn't had the greatest performance when it comes to solos, but I really want to see how he does up with Smeeth tomorrow when we do get into the duos. But Tilt to the Storm is closing to evacuate the city.
This
So look
next
how many
zone
players
is so important.
are towards the southwest side compared to the north.
Yeah.
Like, north is completely open.
The shifty shafts and the houses let you actually hide there a lot more. We see actually that broken house over towards that Dusty Divot area being a little bit bigger has let a lot more people stay. Now, Bizzle on screen, Vivid on screen, Aim Hero. There's 72 hours as well. A lot of representation in the leaderboards here in the top.
And Bizzle's in the thick of it here, pretty much in the middle of this giant city that's being built up and erected.
This is crazy. Again, there's so much places. Actually, Myth taking out chat there in the feed. Again, like I'm talking about, shifty, there's so much to just hide in. There's a little bit of corners you can just box yourself up in random places. And you see Bizzle taking those walls down so he can place walls of his own.
And on that note, right, because there's so many of these angles you can hide in, moving or traversing this area can be so deadly because there's so many angles you can be shot from.
This is an issue here for Imagine and Envy. They're not in zone. They have a little bit of ways to go. And I love that! Using the dynamite onto his launch pad, says, Envy, you cannot chase me no longer. And there we go. He makes it away. I was wondering how he was going to make it out there. That's what I was talking about. They're so far from zone. They need to make it through. They're in the ravine. There's so many issues there for Imagine, but he finds a spot. He finds a way, but no. Actually, Envy's going to come right back over there.
I love that, like 200 IQ play out of him. Hoopik going to be very high in the air as he's just going to ditch the quad crasher. He's just going to hit a tree.
Yeah.
Poor.
You saw he immediately got out the quad crasher as soon as the quad crasher hit that floor, because otherwise you could take fall damage. So.
Yeah. And Morgan, now the thing is, the battle never ends for him, it seems. Now Svenos is going to be the one he has to contend with here as he's tucked away inside of his. But you can see Myth there towards the far end side. Item's still in there, who's currently in the top 10. Skype there as well. I saw Ninja dancing to this last night on a stream. It's fantastic. He's got moves.
He's got moves indeed. Remember, guys, this is game 6. One more game to go after this. These players are all trying their hardest. You can tell that they're playing so much slower. They're playing so much calmer. You saw it in the fight with Envy and Imagine and the rest of these players as well. Now it's going to be hill ending right next to Shifty Shafts, right over the ravine. This is going to be very dangerous for a lot of players if they're not comfortable fighting in this ravine.
I love how you point out the importance of this round as well, because there's only one left to go. Look at this. A lot of buildings being torn down here. Animal on about half HP. You can see Vivid being shot up from the left-hand side. Jordan's going to be there up against Saf as well. Saf is, again, he's been my guy I've been looking at to take this whole thing. But Bizzle, he's just sneaking under the radar. He's not really been shot at. There's not really any attention towards this direction.
There's Animal going low. Mirwana trying to get any damage he can. And there, that half-in, half-out zone is actually in the ravine, like I was talking about. This is going to be so tough for a lot of these players because you have to go down and then you have to come up. So it is kind of, we'll see when we look at the zone here, but Saf there. Mirwana still up on high ground. 72 Hours was still up on high ground. There's Jordan as well.
We did have a rift actually thrown in there. I think about 2 or 3 players did take to potentially get into the high ground. You can see the storm surge starting to affect some players here. Bizzle sitting on the edge here. Aim here is being tagged down damage just from the storm.
Yeah, we saw the storm surge tick and it took out a few players, so it's going to go back away. Bizzle is actually first to zone. That was so key for this zone. That was my key point getting into this, is the first people and the last people are going to be in good shape here, because the last people, we saw it just slightly there, the half-in, half-out zone is on the mountain. So if you can go late and grab that mountain, you're going to be in a really good position, especially if it goes over the mountain.
You see Mitro's still going to be alive, 72 Hours as well. Demo trying to take some high ground control here as he has a chug jug.
Ooh, Vinny as well, right on high ground, right under Demo. We'll see what he's able to do. It's an endgame slayer. Here's Demo. He has 2 elims for his own right now already, but Vinny says, hey, actually, you're not paying attention to me. Gets a little bit of damage done. Demo has that chug. This is probably going to be his last opportunity to use it.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I mean, he's 200 HP. He doesn't have a need to use it until he does get tagged up from the high ground. Sunu is going to be up there. Still one of our Korean players now. Vinny recently signed over to TSM, if you guys were paying attention. I think that was yesterday. Yeah. And he's still in our 5th position overall at the moment, looking to climb further into the rankings. Zate's going to be there. You can see Seth trying to heal it from the campfire.
Imagine is so close to Issa right now. That's such a dangerous person to be next to. Issa can end fights in an instant, just like Aiden.
Oh my gosh, Isma.
Sinu being...
Talk about being king of the castle. Look at him. He's high up.
A little bit of a nuisance there. There's actually nobody decided to take that mountain there. It's all on the Shifty side, and it's going to go across. You can look right now on the bottom right of your screen. It's going back over to high ground, away towards Dusty Divot, basically.
So if you're Isma here, like, what do you do? What's your game plan? I would imagine being this high up is not a very safe feeling when you cross this valley.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if Sinu or somebody else has a little bit of mobility on high ground. If they don't, then I got to jump down and try to make the rotate. But little mats for him. Aim Hero goes down there. A lot of players focusing, trying to get that launch pad. Nobody actually used it. He just placed it, didn't use it.
That's another player who's already won one of our victory royales here so far today, out of the fight for another chance. Milan's to get the elimination onto mid here, as we do see the launch pads coming in. Everyone's skydiving over here.
But I'm talking about everybody using that mobility to get up on the high ground without having to build up. That's the riskiest spot, is to be building up. But here's Kinstar, one of the French players that we were paying attention to, the French community. Here's Bizzle as well. Bizzle, first place right now, only 18 builds. We'll see what he's going to be able to manage to do. He's going to get knocked down, and that's so scary for him. So much in, but Philex takes him out. That's the problem. When you get knocked down, you just fall into people's boxes.
But that's important, though. That's important for Vin, for instance, who's 5th place. Yeah. The fact that Bizzle's not out of this means there's not a lot of points that he can build up into this. As long as he can keep himself alive, Vinny, he can build up a big lead and close this gap up against Bizzle.
That's for sure, and we'll see if Magin is still up as well.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is, Magin on the high ground with the minigun. Here he is. He's trying to do this. If he can get the placements in this game, he's going to take a strong lead against Bizzle and the other players in the lobby. Actually, you can see somebody already towards the other side of this, building up the metal box there. That's Sinu. Sinu doing such a good job staying ahead. And now Magin trying to build up towards him, but Sinu's not letting him, and he's build fighting him. So Magin's going to decide, hey, I don't want high ground. You can take it. I don't really want it.
Magin needs to be careful, though. The fact he's running out of materials, he needs to stay alive, like you mentioned before. Vinny gets himself another elimination.
He's in trouble, though. He's in trouble. It's going up the hill even further, but it's going to go across the hill as well. So if he doesn't get up, he's going to be stuck.
Now, you hear a lot of fingers going off here. In the meantime, you can see some bottle rockets even being thrown. That's from Sinu, who was carrying them the entire time here.
That's actually so scary. Those bottle rockets going out right up above you in endgame. 10 players remaining now.
Oh, what a shot! Kinstar says, hell no, not today here. Sinu's going to fall. And Vic's still in there. Kinstar needs more eliminations. Vinny's still on the low ground with not a lot of people around.
It's another one.
On Boyer. That's now 3.
Staying in the zone and taking Boyer out just so he can get that health on Elim there, and back again with Magin. He's got 2 Elims. He's got high ground, and guess what? He's going into the open. He's got to start dropping down. Only 12 builds remaining.
It's 2 of our top 5 players still alive here left in round number 6. You can see Vinny, though, there's a lot of people to fight out.
This is a huge fight.
Elimination! It's a Mentos will fall as well. That's his 3rd. And Morgan, I always think he was overtaking Bizzle for first place, but can he get more? A first place finish for him now would guarantee that first place spot and almost guarantee him a top 10.
Yeah, and Vinny fighting on low ground against Aries as well. Magin trying to take out anybody else he can. Zeke goes down. Here we go. Magin. No more builds. He takes so much damage, and Aries takes him out. So it's a 1v1 now.
Aries up against 1. Can he get this elimination? Since somehow he pulled this off, the pressure's coming as he's trying to build above 10. Builds left for him. Now down to 5. He's got the shotgun, though.
Well. 6 Elims, and he can also use that launch pad to take high ground if he needs to against the Vic, but he's going to be ready for that.
This could be a 100-point game for him if he gets this final elimination up against the Vic. They're about almost equal in terms of HP. As you can see, the Vic missing a little bit of health, but the Storms continue to move. It's going back up to the high ground. How is Aries going to get back up there?
It's going over the hill, so Vic just needs to kind of help. Oh, but he heavy snipes him down, and no, he's going to stay up. I think he's no mats down below, but both of them are low mats, so this is going to go to it. They're going to get in the zone right here.
He's got bandages, though. He could probably heal this one out, even if he can't build back up.
He's going for the
shot! He chases it down and again fall, and we have a new victor here for our Victory Royale. The Vic claims his first one of the day.
The Victory Royale for the Vic there. Again, the French-speaking community is coming in. And wow, that was such a good decision there. You saw how he immediately went silent when he realized his zone was going over and when he realized his opponent was down below. He went silent, said, okay, maybe he's going to think I went high ground. And that's exactly what happened. He comes down on him in surprise and takes him out with a nice, clean punch shot.
I think you can tell as well on the screen here what it means to him, the pressure he was under in that final 1v1. So well done by him, and he's got to feel great.
Oh, he's got to feel fantastic, gentlemen. A fantastic job. Really enjoyed that cast from you guys. The Vic then picking up the Victory Royale. I mean, the French community, we were saying, oh, they've got a little bit quiet here, and then all of a sudden, they burst back into life here.
And here we go.
Here we
go.
Standings. Gentlemen, here we go. Magin
so
on
close.
top, repping the UK, my boy. Vinny moving up into 2nd place with a big performance there. Bizzle now down in 3rd place. Scram still in within striking distance. And look how close it is, guys. I would say that anyone from kind of maybe 7th upwards, maybe anyone still in that top 10 with a 100-point game with a little bit of luck going their way, it's very much all still to play for here. But imagine that kind of performance there. Just gives him a little bit of breathing room, even though it's only around 10 points.
And even the Vic is still in contention for first place. If he can pull off a 100-point game. He would take first away, but he has to hope that Magen is going to have not great of a game, and Bizzle as well. Like, technically, he could still come out first. That's what's so crazy about this right now.
But remember,
last round.
It all matters what the top 5 and the top 1 actually do. Remember, because if you can place in that top 10 as the player up top, regardless of if you get a lot of elims, regardless of any of that, you're still getting a lot of points. So it's kind of tick for tat, right?
Oh, goodness. Mining. Shifty shafts? Pickaxe? Yes.
That one time we were in a plane and we went for this and we started a fight because of it.
Big bonus?
No, it's a beast.
It's a beast.
It drops 200
zombies
and stone and metal.
Llama.
Wow. Superb.
Okay.
Excellently done.
Great job. When you have with this item, you can do 20 damage per hit. Pistol. No. Pickaxe. Yes.
You soar through the clouds in this.
Glider?
No.
Bus?
No. Vaulted in Season 8.
Airplanes.
Yep.
Okay. You swing this every game.
Pickaxe.
Mm-hmm.
The waifu's favorite weapon.
Heavy sniper?
No. In playgrounds. YouTube videos. Embarrassing.
Pickaxe.
Yeah.
You thank him for doing his job. Bus driver. You thank the guy that drives it. It's blue, has a balloon. Batter bus. Damn.
Here we go then. Ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this. Round number 7 is about to get underway, and to take you through the action, it's Stress and Zacubus.
Loading in with one of our top 3. Bizzle is who we're watching for the start of round 7, the final round of solos action here at the ESL Katowice Royale. Imagine we're going to follow a lot of our top 3 in the early game. I made this request because it is such an important factor to be following the absolute points leaders. As we said, without a real upset in the beginning of the game, it's these 3 guys that are most likely to take home the victory royale for the entire tournament. And look at this Vinny gift to begin it.
Oh man, finding a llama straight off the bat. Vinny in a great position in 2nd place right now, and that is going to help that mat game completely. Also, you never know what you're going to get out of it. You could get a Rift to Go, you could get a launch pad, you're set. You find that llama, that has put you in a really good position.
And Bizzle's also in a good position as well. We've seen him win the early game around Dusty so often that really now is only him and Demo landing in that area and nobody else. Everybody else is just saying, oh, we're just going to back away. And they end up getting so much loot from the early game because no one's fighting them there. Meanwhile, over at Paradise, oh, the actual double elimination, and nobody comes out ahead.
That was a bit disastrous there from both players.
Maxcalibur, I think he thought he had it at first, and then the post-elimination elimination.
Yeah. What happened, I think, oh, well, the action's kicking off somewhere else, actually. Retail, Tixi versus Nikov here, down here. And some good damage there for Nikov, but he's on the low ground and he wants to find an attempt to push onto the high ground. Or maybe he'll just play it safe, farm up some mats inside the building, but he doesn't want to try. Oh, he's going. Oh, it's been pressured from above. Tixi with a great shot. But
that trade was insane back for Tixi. Ends up taking the elimination for himself, but a new challenger approaches as Llama comes in from the side. Looks like 72 hours just doing what he can. I think he's ranked about 20th right now in the tournament. He's over by Volcano. This has been one of his common drops for the day. His Llama, as we said, was building in towards, I think it's Tixi that had won that previous fight down on the low ground.
Yeah, but it looks like he could be food here for Nikov down there. Oh, Tixi, sorry, my bad.
It looks like Llama actually lost health on the trade. Long-range Klinger onto the tree. Got excited. I was like, ooh, maybe.
Yep.
1 in a million throw.
It's the last game. Just make sure you get out, survive. Make sure that you can get as far as you can, and maybe you can find some loot somewhere else.
Envy here coming over the top, trying to find 72 hours. Does find it with the first shot. That should turn this fight, but look at Envy's health. 72 hours traded it back. Will rotate the ramp and look to try and get himself himself any sight that he can. He's trying to just peek over the top. Envy, there's an armor in the open, and Envy does go down to 72 hours.
Very nicely played there from 72 hours, just holding that high ground for as long as he needed, checking all the angles. I love how he turned his back, obviously using every angle to expose his opponent there. Very nicely done, and cleans it up very easily, and he's going to be happy jumping into the volcano.
Yeah, 72 hours didn't really have too much competition around the volcano for the solos. I'm interested to see with the duos if he still ends up going there. Of course, duos is coming to you tomorrow and Sunday for our tournament. We are in the last round of solos here at the ESL Katowice, Royale, and Far. One of the Brazilian players is making his way towards both Aspect and Dementos. Dementos trying to just heal himself up with some of those potions. Through the top goes fast shots, but I think Aspect is just going to back away and say, no, I need the placement points. I need anything I can get here, and just back away.
Yeah, maybe he'll re-engage, maybe, perhaps. We got into the cornfield here, and this is where Dementos has disappeared, playing it slow. Has to be careful. He's got no match stress. Big damage, no shotgun. Far could have messed that up.
Far over the top, though. That's where he's trying to look for. Far down to 11 health. If he can get just that one shot, he's only got the tack, though, so it's going to take a little bit more there. The building coming down, and Dementos trying to just pickaxe his way all the way through this. He knows he's already got the lead. The third party is Aspect, picks up the elimination for himself and just runs away. Aspect's like, I'm out here, guys. See ya.
I mean, Dementos is gone. I mean, Aspect, brilliant timing there. I thought he might re-engage. It seemed to make sense. You know, he's at the bottom of the pack. He needs eliminations, and that was just a good excuse when that fight happened.
Yeah, Issa, here we're on for another fight as Issa's trying to find himself a little bit of space against Razaru. Razaru, I believe, is somewhere in the 20s, and we said that, you know, you can jump pretty high up here as Razaru is... who we're watching with no explosives. 8 shotgun shells should be enough to take this fight, and it is. Edit through the top and easy pickings.
Nice clean pump shotgun to the face there, wraps it up nicely. We switch over to Zeke and History in Paradise Palms, and things are really kicking off here, Stress.
Yeah, Zeke is going to try and replace that wall and get the edit, but he's not quite able to get it in time. Klinger through the roof. Cling, cling, cling. And Zeke is trying to pick up the elimination. Not to be for now. How many clingers did he have? 6 from this exchange. Just trying to put the pressure down onto History.
Unfortunately, Zeke made a little bit of a fatal mistake there. He underestimated the strength of the roof. Natural roof tiling like that is about 500 HP, and of course the clingers couldn't go through it in time.
Razaru, is he caught? There's more clingers coming out from Ares, and Ares was one of the players we were watching, currently in 8th place. He needs 63 points to catch up, and Rover by Football, Ares will pick it up. That's 5 points on the board, building towards his long chase.
Yep, 223 points there for Ares now with that lovely elimination. If he can keep up that pressure and keep his cool, he might be able to squeeze in a win, perhaps. I mean, he's in the bottom end of the pack here. There is potential, but who knows?
So for those of you that maybe didn't catch the beginning of the day where we were going through the format, it is placements above 50th place are worth points, 5 points for every elimination. You can see the grayed out names on the sides of your screen are the players who have already been eliminated, and the big name really that we have to keep our eyes on throughout this game is Majin, but Bowman and Zeke are trading. Bowman's the one that gets those clingers. A lot of damage down onto Zeke to start, and Zeke only 36 now, up to a little bit more health, but still a precarious position to be in.
It's going to be interesting to see what History does here. Is he going to dip out? It looks like he's hanging around for a while here, but Bowman stuck in the other side of these houses too. Going for a rotation instead, going to dip out of the fight by the looks of it. I think every player's taken their exit strategy, make sure they play for the late game. It's a wise move. There's a lot of money on the line.
And here we go, Majin. Speaking of playing for the late game, 1 by 1, doing backflips.
I mean,
doesn't have a drift board, so I don't think it counts. But it's nice, you know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he does what he needs to do, and we're going to go back for that replay. The clinger.
The double elimination off the clinger. Post elimination.
And 72 hours picking up that lovely, lovely frag onto Envy there as well.
I'm expecting the mid-game perhaps to be a little bit slower, as this was one of Aiden's pickoffs by the looks of it. Did manage to get one for himself. I'm expecting this to be a little bit slower of a mid-game because it's the last game, the last opportunity to pick up placement points. So I know earlier today you were talking to Majin. I saw it before the tournament, you and him having a chat in the player area. Any words that he gave you about his goals coming into today? Because he sat at the top of the points.
What was really, really interesting talking to Majin is that, you know, he came into this with no game plan. And obviously, you know, the new season mixed it all up. And his plans were to, you know, get a plane, rotate, find somewhere that was actually safe on the map, and then loot. So he would always go for a plane first, find the safest available spot, and then work from that point. But his whole game plan has to change. And he happened to pick probably the best spot for him, the ice cream parlor by the racetrack at Paradise Palms. Like, perfect placement, no one really contesting there, and he had 3 opportunities to run away with.
Yeah, of course, had to adapt his game plan thanks to Season 8 Stormwing vaulting in the patch changes. Rizard's going to fall. Doesn't end up dying, not too high for that full damage to kick in, but Tux is here. Maybe he can pick off. That's a stink grenade. These are so good in these close quarters position. Just even if it doesn't get the kill, it forces him to move, and you can maybe pick up that elimination from the side. Look for that angle as Rizard is backing himself away. Tux is trading with Smeef a little bit here as well.
Yeah, getting a bit greedy there, Tux. Steady on, lad. Just find your own opponent first. I mean, very unlucky not to find that elimination there with the stink bomb there.
Another name that pops up in the action feed, Scram. He won one of our earlier games today. He's currently sat in 4th place. He would need a 50-point difference in his favor against Margin to take 1st place, and that would then depend on Vinny and Bizzle. So this is really the thing. You can have the best game, but if your opponents are still consistent and they're above you in the points, you might not be able to jump above them.
Rizard's coming back in for some action, but finds Smeef instead. Tux has gone for the low ground here and played it a little bit safe down there.
Is getting tracked all the way up. There's a bad smell in that building, and it might be you, Smeef, at this point, because it's following you all the way up with those stink grenades. And Smeef's going to say, no, no, I'm out of this one.
It's really hard to avoid those farts, Stress, and they keep coming. They keep on coming, and it's just, oh, the smell lingers for ages.
Rizard in a lot of danger now as he gets clipped from the side. Has a few bandages, so we'll be able to heal that up, but now Smeef maybe is in a situation where he's the one that can put some damage out in response. But this is the slower mid-game. This is what we're expecting. 69 players remain in this game, and we are at Storm 2 out of 9 that is moving.
Yep. Smeef in a precarious situation here. He really wants to put this campfire down, and that's going to attract enemies to this location. They're going to know that he's low. Rizard has taken the sign. Maybe he's going to make a move with the pickaxe here, try and hack in his way. But he has to be careful of Smeef on the other side of this building as well.
Smeef knows he's coming in, and Smeef has shields. Like, that's the one thing that Rizard can't underestimate, is if this shot doesn't connect flush and just insta-eliminate, Rizard is going to feel the pain from Smeef, because Smeef, that campfire has basically expired now. So we're onto a replace fight. Gets the window, but a ramp in response. There's the spray down. Does get another shot from the pump. Tries the pyramid, and that's what we were talking about. Rizard takes the fight and ends up falling completely out at 69th place.
Smeef just having the advantage with the health stack there, could take a shot to the face there, but slightly Riz whiffing it a little bit, I feel. But great stuff from Smeef there, playing very well on the defense.
Another big name on your screen right now, right at the top, Solary Kinstar is currently in 5th place. He would need a 57-point difference between himself and Margin to end up taking 1st place. He put up a big performance in game number 2 and has been consistent throughout. I mean, it's doable, right? It's doable for Kinstar. He's one of the people that we said could catch with the right game.
It's really interesting. This is the strongest performance in a while that we've seen from Kinstar in solos. His duo performance is outrageously amazing. Like, top 5 pretty much every event that he plays in the skirmishes.
And what a tournament so far for Vinny, just signing with TSM not much longer than a few days ago, and a player that people are talking about so frequently. It was like, when are we going to see Vinny? When are we going to see him play? And what a performance. Currently only 6 points behind Margin. That is 2 eliminations difference, or that placement point. It's so close.
In the previous game, when you had that face-off between Margin and Vinny, right? They didn't really meet each other, but you could see how they were conflicting against each other in that action feed. Ooh. Because Vinny was popping off so much with some eliminations.
My heart is in my throat right now for Margin, who is traversing open ground to get into the zone. And he had Cloud, I believe as well, he had Scram around him. And that's the kind of position that if somebody has a sniper, it's one shot for the elimination, could very easily pick him off. That's why he was checking around.
It was very interesting.
Oh, is he going to hit Shinken? No.
He's going to try, though, you know, go for those pirate plays. Yeet it out. But anyways, what's interesting about Margin is that he was already in the circle, but he wanted to rotate center. And there's less attention in the center. People are more focused on fighting towards the edges, so he was able to rotate for free there.
I'm still watching Gmo just trying to utilize that cannon. Has built it in so that it doesn't blast off the floor behind him. He does have animal closing in Tajovsky's there as well as his Sinnoh, but just being annoying, really, more than anything with that cannon, breaking through the boundary, the walls as much as he can.
Alpha was just tagging away there at via Linen there, just trying to find some damage, but not really getting anything out of it apart from just wasting his AR ammo.
Aim Hero, you can see on the bottom side of your screen as well. Another one of our Victory Royale winners earlier today. Aim Hero is going to join in on the fun and try and put as much towards Shinken as he can. As Scram, as we said, had won, I think it was round 5 earlier, so in contention, but it would take a good performance. I feel like Sep had a good start to the day, for sure. And that's the thing, is the consistency really is the key, and it is so difficult across 7 rounds to be consistent. It takes a lot of mental fortitude and physical fortitude between it just to be able to keep placing in the late game every single time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was quite amazing in the previous game that Margin was able to do so much when he was getting pressured so much by Envy. He did a crazy smart play, actually using Dynamite to kill his launch pad to escape the incredibly bad situation that he got himself into.
New zone will show. Margin is, I believe, just inside, or is he just outside? No, he's outside. He has to run. And you have to think, for Margin, in this situation, he doesn't have the same view that we have. He can't see the eliminations of people like Vinny, of Bizzle. So he's having to manually track it down in that action feed and say, okay, have I seen them score? What do I need to do? Because even if I win and they're second place, I have to beat them on points.
I honestly don't think he's even worried about it at this stage. I think he's just going, you know, I'm going to get the late game, I'm going to play it cool, and I'll pop off at the end, and I'll worry about it then. And to be honest, you just got to play your own game. You can't expect, ooh, big damage there coming from Tux there, doing a little bit of a miss.
Vilex wasn't expecting that damage from above to come through as much. That was a big trade. Loses 60 health on that.
It's going to be fine, though. He's going to shield up as best as he can.
Keolis finds another elimination for its 3rd of the game. Of course, we're talking so much about who is going to be the eventual winner. As we said, the whole pack can change, and there is significant placement and earnings available, even for those that aren't in the top spot.
There's a lot of aggression here coming in on this build-off here, just on this mountain. Players finding each other, wanting to go in for the eliminations. Big damage received from Kilios there, and now he has to find a defensive strategy for himself. But Bizzle is still in the game, and he's still rocking it.
Yeah, History is beside him, and History certainly trying to get away from those stink bombs. Just hacked so much through with those stink bombs. Now look, dual pistols from the side. Somebody is trying to pick up anything that they can.
What's interesting about Ghost Bizzle right now, he hasn't had to rotate at all. He landed there, and he's still there to this day. It's just his favorite spot. He doesn't need to do anything. And look at his items because of it. He hasn't had to rotate. He hasn't had to use any of his healings. He's got the Rift to go to spare.
Looking to try and pick off Tajovsky. He's just using that compact SMG as much as possible. Now raining through with the blue AR, but he hasn't quite found the pick. Bizzle gets dropped on, and Bizzle is going to get picked off. Bizzle ends up falling to History. He turned his back, and that surely is such a drastic end for Bizzle this early on.
No way, Stress. History makes history. Oh my Jesus, oh, that's insane. And also the Rift to go. There's so much loot there that Bizzle has saved up since the start of the game.
Bizzle turned his back, and there it is, 50 players eliminated. Bizzle was out of the placement points. So you have to feel like Bizzle, there's no way he can catch Margin. There's no way he can catch Vinny right now. So Bizzle is a maximum 3rd place finish. But this game continues, and it's with Vinny that we are watching. 1 elimination to his name. That leaves him 1 point behind Margin before placement points are actually included.
This is going to go down to the wire. All depends on placement at the moment, but that could change. You never know. Margin can pick up an elimination here or there. So could Vinny. And Vinny on a little bit of a wide rotation, I feel.
Margin's on 0 eliminations for now. Zexro is here in this area, and let's not sleep on any of the competitors in this. It's not like Margin and Vinny are so clear that they aren't going to get picked off. We just saw it happen to Bizzle. Everybody is a lethal threat regardless of where they are on those standings, and at this point you can see a few of the other players that are alive. Jordan from the X2 Twins is alive. They've been doing decently well throughout this solos, but we're really waiting for the duos to see how the Twins perform. That's what we've seen them crush at, and as this storm starts to shrink, there are so many players, perhaps the largest field we've had today on this movement.
I am scared, Stress. I am very, very scared. Kinstar is still alive out there, and it worries me for Margin's future. It really does.
Well, we'll wait till it gets lower, because Hupek is going to try and pick one off in the air. Does get the spray down, and he got Norwood out of the air. Mitro picks up 72 hours. That unfortunately calls an end to 72 hours solos performance as Mitro continues. Jakos, our Polish winner, is still in there. Aiden is still in the left of your screen. You can see Boya in the middle of everything. There are so many contenders that could easily take the victory royale.
Very much so. We see Margin in the dead center of all this mess. Sino's getting actually a bit stunk on there in the corner, but he's going to recover just fine. I don't think he's going to get any more pressure. And Margin's everybody is already on this corner. This is going to be a hectic push towards that next circle, Stress. Everybody is already facing that direction. And
entire game.
This is peaking. He doesn't know that it's Vivid in front of him, but like that's a matchup that everybody would want to see. Margin against Vivid at this point, but it's impossible for people to really call a lot of these engagements. Now, Bowman trying to just pick anybody out of the sky that he can. As Storm Surge warning does kick in, but Bowman is very much safe with the amount of damage he has done. He's trying to spin up that minigun, just preemptively doing it to get anything he can, but now he's got to move.
Yep, and he's going to try and maintain as much high ground as possible. I think he has some backup options there, and he's going to try and dish out as much damage as he can at the very back, getting a little bit of pressure there. Will he have to use any of his movement options spare? I think he's just going to keep running it and build as much as he can. Good pressure with the minigun, though, forcing his opponents down there.
Great pressure. Here's Margin. This is the dangerous move that he has to traverse perfectly in order to keep his lead. Doesn't swap to the shotgun in enough time to pick up an elimination, but he finds safety for now. So did a lot of people, but we are down to 28. A lot of our contenders are still up in this game, and nobody has found that key elimination to turn this game into their points' favor.
Butt cheeks are clenching here, Stress. Very much so. As a Brit, I have tea in celebration after this if he manages to pull it off.
It definitely is not Margin's game. It is not a safe game for him at all, as he has to keep eliminations on top of it as well. Points leader, but only by 6, means it could be easy for Vinny to jump up. The player from the USA could very well end up taking this if he can get a few eliminations. Margin traversing upwards. Where is Vinny? I'm trying to track him down. We see he's using the balloon, single balloon strategy to try and get as much height in the late game. 40 builds is where he's at.
Margin making it.
Edit does get a lot of damage down, gets the elimination, actually picks up Jordan, one of the X2 Twins, runs into another one. Margin has to stay alive if he wants the hope to actually stay in this at first, but he's taking storm damage as well. He's eliminated. Zexro gets him, and it's now all on Vinny. If Vinny can put up enough points, surely this has to be it. Vinny just needs to stay in for a victory royale, and then depending on the rest of the field, it all depends on how much the other players around him are scoring. I don't think we can call a clear winner at the end of this game.
Jakos having that high ground, as we saw earlier on. He has been mastering it every game. I don't know how he gets up there so consistently all the time. And now taking pot shots at everybody that's blind.
That's Vinny! Vinny drops in on Jakos, and Vinny needs to pick this one up. Vinny needs everything that he can to be able to stay through, but surely he has done enough to at least unseat Margin. It's all about the rest of the field. Vinny ends up dying. Vinny is gone out of this one. So that's Bizzle, Vinny, and Margin gone. Somebody could steal this from behind. Who have we got? Animal is here. Boyer is here. Madsen goes down. That was a double elimination pickup with 6 players left.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. Who's up the very top? That's Zayt up the top with the high ground. He's playing it extra slow, playing it very safe, but that rocket launcher will change that situation with Shino doing some big damage onto Zayt.
4 players left, and this is all about climbing the rest of the standings. The battle for first has pretty much all been decided, and with 3 players left, it is all about final placements. Shinken drops down. Sino ends up picking up 1, and Animal is going to win the game. The final victory royale of the solos competition is picked up by Animal.
Animal doing fantastic work there, Stress. I mean, he had a bit of a slow performance today in the solos, but, you know, we saw him yesterday in the duo practice. These guys, they were going next level. 2 wins back-to-back in the practice.
Yeah, they, in the practice, performed very well, now coming through with the victory royale, and you know, it's not too late to be climbing the standings here. That was a big game out of Animal to kind of jump his way up. The real key thing is, we really don't know who's won.
I know, it's so tense right now. I'm so hoping. I'm so hoping.
I don't have a horse in this race.
Fingers are very much crossed at the moment, gentlemen, for you. I mean, what a finish. The fact that we've come right down to the end there. Massive congratulations to Animal, we must say, for the victory royale at the end. But we do not know our winner off the top of our heads. We have no idea still. Someone do some quick maths.
Bizzle got eliminated early. That's what we know. I really don't think it can be Bizzle.
He was out of the placements.
He was out of placement points. So it's did Vinny outperform Margin enough on placements, and did everybody, Scram, Keenstar, Item, Blacks, Aries, did they all fail to pick up enough points to unseat Vinny, or will Vinny have done it? Oh,
it's going to be a lot of people in the back at the moment, a lot of League Ops guys tapping away on calculators, double checking, triple checking, making sure that it's right. So we get you guys the correct winner, of course. But I mean, what a finish it was, gents. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better day of solos here in our international tournament. Everyone has turned up. They've given us heartache. They've given us incredible plays. I mean, it came down to a game number 7 with so many players still in contention, as we obviously have the replays coming in from that last game. But I love the fact that after all is said and done, a little bit like Test cricket, they played 7 games here, we still don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's won.
Yeah, we don't know who's won. We saw a few big pickups from Aries. As you said, Bizzle ended up dropping out. I think we'll probably end up seeing that as part of a replay package. But, I mean, the competition is pretty close between a lot of the countries that have come here, right? I mean, we've got American players fighting for the top. We've got European players. And just in general, I think it's been really exciting to see different play styles, especially in solos as well.
Oh, definitely. And it was quite an upset earlier on as well, with Bizzle just dropping out of the top 50. Like,
yeah.
He had
it came out of nowhere as well, that elimination. He was so focused on that player in front of him, and then bang.
And that's what, like, the importance, especially in solos, is pretty much all 100 players are top players in their region, right? So you can't sleep on somebody. You can't just say, I'm in the top, I'll just turn my back and start looking for this elimination, and that's what picked up Bizzle.
It's the clash of styles there that really, came in there. I'm sure if that was an all-American, group of 100 players, it could have been a whole different kettle of fish. It went absolutely crazy. No one was expecting history to make history there and knock down Bizzle and his chance for the championship.
Okay, gentlemen.
Have you got it?
I've got it. I've just heard it in my ears. The most exciting thing is it was 3 points that separated the winner of today's solo action. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the solos is Vinny!
Oh!
Incredible stuff.
What a basically week. What a week for Vinny, really. Yeah. And what a time to do it. Like, this has just been a monumental week for a young player to pick up the solos.
What a fantastic performance from that young man. You can see him. He's about to lift that trophy up. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Vinny!
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up, your ESL Katowice Royale Solos champion, it's Vinny! Vinny, come around this way, buddy, come around this way. Congratulations, you must feel on top of the world right now.
I feel amazing.
How does it feel to clutch that amazing, beautiful trophy as well?
Feels great. It's my first one, so I'm really excited.
Well, congratulations. Let's talk about the tournament in general. First things first, 3 points in it. 319 points you finished on. I think Magan came in at 316. How did it feel as a player being in that kind of environment where it's so close?
It was definitely nerve-wracking, but at the end, I had a lot of movement, and I knew I'd take down first place.
When you came into the tournament today as well, did you have a strategy this morning coming into this, thinking that's how I've got to play this thing?
My strategy wasn't the best. I used to drop Snobby, but that was kind of taken, so I had to make a new strat, and it worked out today, so it's awesome.
It's amazing. I mean, obviously, have you guys enjoyed yourselves today as well? What a worthy winner you've been. I mean, let's talk about as well. You haven't, despite not getting a victory royale today, you've played the game so well. The consistency of it all. It couldn't have gone better than it did to plan, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, a whole weekend to go, full of duos. Confidence must be at an all-time high now. Are you looking forward to going into duos as well?
Yep, me and Zax are going to bring first place as well, so I'm excited.
You're going to bring the noise. Guys, one more time, would you please give it up for your ESL Katowice Royale Solos champion? It's Vinny! What a deserved champion. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations there, buddy. Representing the US of A. What a day it's been. I've loved every second of this being the stage host of this. But tomorrow we kick off duos 2 days back to back. Vinny's excited. All the players, I'm sure, are as well. Thank you so much for watching today from the main stage here. I've loved every second. Cannot wait for tomorrow. For now, let's head back to Mark and the fellas. What an incredible day this has been.
Thank you so much, Adam. And NA all day, baby. That was the question coming into today. Could anyone dethrone them? Hey, it was close. It was close, but NA, they hold on.
It was really interesting because I feel like the North American players really warmed into it as the games went on, as the round numbers started ticking up. At the beginning of the day, I think a lot of the players, for instance, from Solary and the French community, were very used to playing in this environment, but getting warmed up, Vinny, really consistency is the key. And that's what we learned last week. This is what we've learned again. Vinny just in a great, great spot.
And I love the fact that he's got the stream open so he can watch himself lift up that trophy. What a moment that is. I mean, Vinny, just watch it for a second, mate. It's a really nice moment. It's a really nice moment.
It back again.
And enjoy it. Enjoy the chat. I'm sure everyone's giving him a lot of props as well. I'm sure there's a lot of American fans out there showing their support for him as well. But, I mean, Zacubus, it's been a fantastic day. But we're only getting started here. This is day one of the international tournament. We're going to do 2 days.
2 more days?
2 more days.
Great.
It's duos action kicking off tomorrow. And you can see that even Vinny there saying, you know, this is great. I've won the solos tournament. I'm going to bring it tomorrow and the next day. He wants some more victories.
Oh, for sure. He's going to be hammering it out tomorrow with his teammate. They're going to be going busy, as a lot of other people will be. There's going to be loads more games that are going to be just as exciting as that as well. And I think we have the scoreboard up there.
I mean, look at these standings. I said it was only 3 points, and it looks closer than that when you have the numbers actually put together. Bizzle sliding down to 4th place there. Kinstar making his way into 3rd place at the end. Skype with another big game towards the end as well. So big changes again. I mean, Zape made a big run towards the end. And look at that man. Their history in 9th place representing Brazil. Huge stuff for that region.
Great performances. We look at just outside the top 10. We've got big names in here. Funk Bomb, Vivid, Metro, all in the mix. And honestly, I think you see a lot of these names. The ones that maybe people don't know so much, players like Item, I think the longer tournaments go on, the more we see on the lead-up, for instance, to the World Cup, I think we're going to see a lot of these players posting big results again and again, and this kind of experience is invaluable for them.
And one thing that I love as well, Zacubus, is the amount of different nationalities we have in that top 10, excuse me, top 20 standings. I'm getting a little bit carried away here. I'm just looking forward to duos, to be honest with you. But it just shows that, you know, Fortnite esports, it's a worldwide game now. It's not just contained within certain regions. You got to be aware of everyone that's coming to the party.
Everybody's going to be stepping on your toes. As you've seen, all these countries representing. Really great to see America come out on top. A bit sorry for Martin.
The Brit in you is like, oh, I really wanted to win.
I had, you know, I've got a bag of tea bags back at the, hotel.
You're going to have to save them, buddy. You're going to have to save them for tomorrow. But, gents, it has been an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you to everyone in the audience who stayed and cheered on all of the players. But don't worry, as I previously mentioned, we've still got 2 more days of action to bring your way. The duos kick off tomorrow. We've got $400,000 worth of dollars, obviously, to give away tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. Duos is going to kick off. We'll see you there. And we should remind everyone at home as well of the format and how the prize pool, etc., because we've been talking about how important eliminations are, etc. But Martin, we've got to show you know exactly why that is, because these 5 points for eliminations, as you can see on your screen here, they have been the game changer here, not just that 65 points you get for that victory royale.
That is right. As you can see, I mean, each elimination is 5 points. You do have the second place. The first place is, I mean, 65 points. So it's not too much if you compare it to racking up a bunch of eliminations. You know, they do matter.
It do matter, and obviously it's not just 7 rounds like we've had recently. 14 rounds of duos to get through to find our champion. We talk about consistency. We talk about the mental aspect of Fortnite and playing for a long time. These guys, they've got a grind ahead of them, but it does mean that we're going to get the best players.
Yes, 14 rounds over 2 days is the key thing. It is a marathon, but at least, you know, it's 7 rounds per day. And I think that consistency, we've mentioned it a couple of times, it's only 9 points between first and second. So if you're constantly putting up second place and the winner is changing, you're just going to be able to take so much more in towards those final games.
Well, let's remind ourselves of exactly what the guys are playing for as well. It's $400,000, Adam, that's it, just to remind you, is what they're playing for. But, you know, the prize breakdown, we talked about how we talk about first place a lot, and we're always looking for the winner, but there's such a big shift in prize money as far as placements are concerned. I mean, just look at the difference there from second to third. The difference is enormous.
Yeah, it's massive, and then you go all the way down. Top 20 places in the duos will be in with the prize pool slots. So that's kind of the thing where you hear the players talk and they say, Vivid tweeted yesterday about how he placed 19th and was disappointed. And you're like, it's still good, but they know they all want to be the one that takes home that first place.
And of course, we have our schedule for today as well of all the games that we're going to have coming up. You can see it there, 7 rounds to get through today, Martin. And I think a lot of players I've got to stay focused today because we have so many different rounds. We have 14 to get through over the 2 days. That one bad game, especially early on, you've got to keep composure, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of games will really set out the your expectations for the tournament as a whole. But there's 7 games today. You have 7 games tomorrow. So if it doesn't really go your way today, you can gather your thoughts, maybe have a little tactical chat with your friend, with your teammate, and yeah, just come back stronger tomorrow.
It's like Martin just had a teammate that he maybe wasn't friends with out of the game there at one point, but, you know, we'll leave that there. We won't get too deep into that. But, I mean, so much action to get through.
Yeah, and it's a good discussion because yesterday I feel like we saw the players that were willing to adapt to the changes the most and not just have one drop spot that everybody knows is theirs. The ones that go to other places say, okay, well, I lost this, but that means I only lost in this game. I can do something different for every other game. And like players like Majin, who ended up, I believe, second in the standings, did incredibly well without having a strategy coming in, because his strategy was getting into a Stormwing, and then Stormwings got vaulted. So he's like, oh, okay, well,
yeah, it's a forced change of game plan, isn't it? But that's enough from us from the desk for the moment. Gentlemen, fantastic to have you here. But I think it's about time that we meet the players. Adam has got to introduce them all. So, Adam, it's over to you.
Good boy. Good boy. Right, it is that time to meet our competitors. We're all ready, right, guys? Are you ready for this? Yes, you are. Okay. Now, I've got to read out 100 names. Bear with me, okay? But we're going to get through this. These are the competitors you're all here to see, watching at home as well. We can't wait to get them out here. Let's do this thing. First up, we welcome to the stage Jamside and 7SSK7!
Here they come then, gentlemen, our first duo of the day. Belarus and Russia being represented by these 2 players. Extremely excited to have these guys participating in the tournament.
Yeah, we saw Jamside yesterday, placed 38th overall in solo, so we know that they're competing, we know that they're getting in the mix. I want to see in the duos how that changes.
Next up, we have Moana and Include!
Another 2 Russian competitors coming out here. Didn't see too much of them in the solos yesterday, but as we say, some of these players, they're just looking to be those duos.
Yeah, and as you said, we didn't see too much of them, but the interesting thing about this is it's a completely different game, and we know from watching other esports, a lot of the Russian players and players from the CIS region are just very competitive in general. They're always posting at international events.
I think they're coming out any second now. Moana and Include will be with us in just a moment. Come on, guys. Probably backstage busy. There they are. Backstage busy practicing. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Hey, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see from the guys. Lots of energy.
Love it. All right, next up, we have Koffa and Beehive.
I'm just hoping they don't take the L in the tournament.
Yeah, that'd be awkward to do, but moving on to these 2 guys here, 2 Swedish competitors coming through. Again, showing the range of nationalities we have in this tournament.
Yeah, Beehive with a pretty good
lovely
performance
stuff. Well
yesterday.
done, lads. Okie dokie. Time for our next duo. We have Marky and Ryax.
Another 2 players were expected to do big things in the duos today. A real opportunity for these guys to step up.
Going straight for the trophy. I love it. I love it.
Bad luck.
Welcome, lads. Welcome. Alrighty. Next up, we welcome to the stage Provoked and Tux.
Here they come from. I'm feeling a bit sorry for Adam. He's going to be knackered by the end of this. We've got so many players to get through, but obviously, it's absolutely enormous, isn't it? It's one of the tallest players I've ever seen.
All right, next up, let's welcome to the stage Aries and Noahs.
Aries doing very well yesterday. In the top 10, 10th place for him, and it just kept performing.
Well done, lads.
In that action feed.
Good luck in the tourney. Next up, would you please welcome to the stage Isma and Lolito.
Two of our Spanish competitors coming out now. Obviously, talking about the nationalities, lots of European flair here in Katowice, and these two Spanish guys will be looking to represent Spain as well as they possibly can.
Well done, lads. All right. Next up, next duo is Mies and Jules.
What a performance from Jules. Won one of our games yesterday. I think it was versus Mitro in the end of all things. So a really solid performance. We can see what they can do today.
Bonjour, messieurs. Welcome to the show. All right, next up we have Madsen and Seth.
Both Madsen and Seth with a pretty good performance yesterday, both top 30. We'll see if they can make some better adjustments to the play today.
Give it up next for Tixi and Mushway.
Belgium and France being represented here. Again, European flair being added to this tournament. I've got to say that quite a lot because we've got so many European players in this tournament.
It's very true.
Welcome in, lads. Good luck today. Next up, we welcome to the stage the X2 twins, Jordan and Jesse.
And what better duo partner than having your twin, right?
It's
so
very,
much
very true.
Expectation on these guys as well. Oceania region, these guys have been crushing, and now we get to see them in duos.
Welcome in, lads. All right, next up, Airwax and Nikov.
Now, I don't want to say this to you, but Airwax was your pick yesterday,
it was
right,
my
Stress?
pick. Airwax is my man. Obviously, a long history in other esports with seeing Airwax. I'm very confident. These guys online in Europe have been doing so well, and it's one of those duos that we cannot wait to see.
We say a big hello to Rizart and Lama.
Here we go, then, two of our Japanese competitors, and these guys, they had some pretty solid performances yesterday, again showing that reach and the real global feel of this tournament.
Next, Envy and Sidhu.
South Korean competitors who I think in the solos, they were going super aggressive, and I want to see whether they continue that into the duos as well. Like, these guys look pretty impressive.
Good to have you here, lads.
I want to see the duos again.
Alrighty.
So many teams.
Please welcome to the stage, Alpha and Bowman.
And here's my favorites, my boys. I have big expectations for these two, and look how handsome they are. Just look at them.
Oh, look at the pressure you're putting on them as well. I mean, if they don't win now, it's on you, Martin.
And now, we have Mota and Eric Triceps.
Maybe not the strongest performances yesterday in the solos, but as we say, bit of experience under the belt. First tournament, especially for Eric.
Yeah, and that is such a key thing, that getting that initial experience to actually be able to stabilize yourself before the big day here. We've got 2 days of competition coming. They got to be ready.
Good luck, lads. All right, next up, Far and History.
Brazil being represented here by these two gentlemen. I mean, one of the Brazilian players picked up, it was History, I believe, who picked up a victory royale yesterday. So big performances coming in from them and showing they can hang in the top spots.
Overall 9th place. What a performance from History.
Next we have Blacks and the Vic.
Next to each other in the scoreboard yesterday, 12th and 13th place, so looking good.
Yeah, there were so many of the French community and French pro players that just really posted strong results. So these guys, you got to watch out for 12th and 13th.
Oh, there it is, the first dab of the day.
Someone had to drop it. Nice. Next up, please welcome Max Zalaba and Keolis.
Two more French players here, gentlemen. We talked about how the French community came out strong yesterday. Kind of fell away towards the end of the tournament. And with this longer format, we'll have to see if they can adjust that. Obviously representing Team Vitality there as well.
Next, we welcome to the stage Vilex and Kinzel.
Greece and Slovakia being represented here. And so saying, an interesting mix of countries. Will there be a language barrier? We have to find out. Obviously, we would imagine there wouldn't.
I imagine not.
That'd be a bit of a risk to take, wouldn't it?
We're all busting out the dabs. I love it.
Only use the ping system.
Okay, next up, we have Aspect and Animal.
Now, talking of expectation, a lot of people have these two guys just high up. And yesterday, we saw in the solos a good placement out of Animal, 6th place overall. And I really cannot wait to get into this game one, see where they drop, see what ends up going down.
Lovely. We next have Milan and Smeef.
The young prodigy, Martin, someone that you've certainly got your eye on to perform today.
Yeah, Milan, one of those young prodigies, really good. Have high expectations for him, and a little wave there to the crowd.
All right, let's give it up next for 07 and Lil J.
Two more of our Chinese competitors coming out here. Fantastic to see them again here in Katowice. I want to see these guys playing some duos today. I want to see how they mesh as a team, see what their teamwork's like, and see if they can pull some upsets.
Alrighty, make some noise for Zeke and Poverty!
Now, these guys have had so much experience on this stage. We had them last week in the Katowice Royale Polish edition, so they are very well accustomed to having the crowd, and you can hear
the crowd like these guys.
Next up, the local lads, Skix and Hoopek.
Now, I wonder if the crowd's going to get loud for these guys again. Obviously, as you say, Stress, very used to this main stage here, very used to the imposing stature of Tomato Temple looking down over them.
A big welcome next to Via Linen and Windwalker.
These guys are absolute animals. They're really good. They're aggro players. Still make it to late game, but yeah, look at them.
Welcome to the stage, you two. Welcome to the show. Next up, big round of applause for Tomo and Item.
It's funny, Item, a name that not a lot of people knew coming into this, unless you were, playing in scrims, watching a lot of the online tournaments. But now, Item, after a really strong performance, putting him in 11th place, has made a name for himself and posting results for the UK. A lot of UK players in that top 20 yesterday.
All right, next up we have Dementos and Fuexi.
Latvian and Germany coming together here. And Dementos we saw a few times yesterday, picking up some big eliminations. And I believe we just saw, was that the second dab of the day? Have we got a dab counter somewhere in the corner? Yeah.
Alrighty, next we have Joel and Power.
Power, a name that's been around the scene for a very long time in the European online community. And I want to see, again, now offline. This is one of the first times we're seeing a lot of these players in person. Want to see if those online results translate.
Next, we have Shinken and Stompy!
Shinken and Stompy then, another one of our duos. I'm feeling for Adam. Adam's straight's probably got to be going by right now, haven't we? Got 30 of the duos out, 20 more to go, gentlemen. We're getting there, we're getting there.
Next, we have Camo and Issa!
Popularity in this place, and a lot of it, I think, as well, is to do with the online performance that some of these guys do. I mean, clearly favorites here. Camo putting up huge results in solos versus scrims online. So again, just one of those guys that now that we're offline, it's all about performing.
Next, we have Bloodex and Zipan.
Here they are, Zipan, the aggro player, and Bloodex, the mind, the brawn and the mind, the brain and the brawn.
Next up, we welcome to the stage Sakona and Scram!
Scram picked himself up to Victory Royale yesterday, ended in 8th place for the solos tournament, so just another one of these names that you're going to see come up time and time again. I want to see what Sakona can do as well.
Yeah. Next up, give it up for Fax Fox and Aim Hero!
Now, one of our players from South Korea, of course, picked up a huge Victory Royale yesterday, and he had the biggest smile on his face when he did it as well.
And according to Fax Fox's Twitter, these are the challenges for Nick Merckx and Aiden at Tilted.
Oh, it's going to be fun! That's going to be so fun!
Here come the lads. It's Myth and Cloud!
If you don't know these guys, you might have been hiding under a rock for a while. Here they go, here they come. They're getting the crowd hype. That's what we want to see. Myth getting everyone going here. Duos action for them today.
What?
Let's see what they can do.
That's a trophy.
Put it back then. Good lads. Thank you.
Security.
Bad luck if you touch those.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, next up is Razaru and X8.
Razaru, we saw a lot of times getting towards the end zone yesterday, had some pretty solid performances. Really excited to see what these two could do in duos today. It's just one of those duos that kind of sticks out, and I just think these two, they could cause some problems.
Give it up for Kaiser and Majin!
Imagine, what a performance yesterday. We saw him in every end game, and he managed to get second at the very end. Yeah?
Second overall. Such a strong performance. Only 3 points between second and first. If it's that close over 14 games, this is going to be a nail-biter.
Now we have Vinny and Zexro!
Now, if you didn't know about Vinny, you sure do now. Our winner of the solos yesterday. At the end of the day yesterday when he lifted that trophy as well, he just said, I can't wait to team with Zexro tomorrow and pick up that duos trophy after a couple of days of action.
These guys have to be the pick, right? They both performed amazingly, and you've got to say, these guys are the ones that we're aiming for first.
Next, we have Zayt and Saf.
Zayt and Saf, obviously, coming off the back of some big performances recently at the Secret Skirmish. So these two definitely going to be a dangerous duo moving forward. Keep your eyes on Saf. Big plays coming out of him.
All right, let's give it up for Cripper and Boya.
Another one of our duos being introduced to the stage. Cripper and Boya. We didn't see too much of them yesterday in the solos, but moving towards the duos, a lot of these players are keeping their eyes on that. They saw yesterday as kind of feeling their way into the tournament. When they get into the duos, that's where they're most dangerous.
Some more local lads. We have Tajovsky and Nero.
I was thinking the
listen to this play.
Loud on this one.
And all I can think about is the cannonball.
Yeah, maybe stay away from the cannons today, Tajovsky.
Yay! Tajovsky!
Okay.
Love it. That's what I want to see.
At least it wasn't off stage.
That's very true. That's very true. Embrace the meme.
Love it, love it, love it. Next, it's Vivid and Poach.
Another two huge names in competitive Fortnite as they find their way out onto the stage. Big smiles. Maybe not so yet, but they will be when they see this crowd.
I love the mentality from Vivid, saying, yesterday I didn't get what I want, tomorrow I'm bringing the fire.
Welcome to the stage, Demo and Bizzle.
Now, Bizzle yesterday very much in contention for those top spots. He was one of those 3 players who was in contention of winning it all when it came down to that final game. And what a player he's got alongside him in duos, Demo as well.
Again, and such a dangerous team to play against. I really have to say, a lot of the American duos are the ones that have a lot of time and a lot of expectation for performing well.
So composed, I love it. Next is Kuna and Mitro.
One of the biggest characters in the game. Martin, I know you love this guy.
Yeah. Just look how handsome Kuna is. You know? All the Swedish players, just so handsome.
I feel like there's a slight bias every time a Swedish player.
Well, that's me,
right? I respect that.
Please welcome Svenos and Andiza.
Go on then, Martin. There's another Swedish player coming out here.
Well, he's not Swedish, he's Dutch.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Common misconception.
Apologies.
Mark, mine won't give the compliments.
Yeah.
Swedish.
We're delighted to have them here. Give it up for Nick, Max, and Aiden.
The self-proclaimed Kings of Tilted Tower coming together once more. Looking forward to those early battles going down in Tilted. Who's going to win that one? We know they're going to have some challenges.
And Aiden started racking up the results again later in the day, so really got to keep our eyes on these guys.
Welcome, guys. We now have Funk Bomb and Nate Hill.
Funk Bomb and Nate both had pretty solid performances in the solos yesterday, getting to a lot of end games. Obviously represented FaZe Clan there, but these are a dangerous duo.
And they've put up good results in other tournaments. We've seen the 4 skirmish results that came through as well. So again, another North American duo that we absolutely can't underestimate.
Next, we have Skite and Vato.
Good performance from both of these players yesterday, so they should be booming with confidence. Just look at them. I mean, walking there, they're looking pretty good.
Skite yesterday was one of the players who really impressed me early on, especially in those first couple of games. He had some big games.
Our penultimate team, we have Hunter and Keenstar.
And this is the duo that I think everybody in Europe has a lot of stock behind. Keenstar performing very well yesterday, 3rd place overall, and came out swinging early on. Again, when all of these start clashing in the late game, that's going to be the beauty of this duos tournament.
And last, but by no means least, please give it up for 72 Hours and Chap!
72 Hours gave us one of the best interviews I've seen in esports in a long time yesterday. Certainly excited to see these two go at it. I'm sure they've got their eyes on that first place. They expect nothing more. It's fire. I love ending on that. Some varied opinions. Some people a little bit nervous by the looks of things because obviously it's the first time they're going to be competing on Season 8, but also a lot of excitement about, you know, getting their hands on it and being able to traverse the map in different ways. And that's something that really stood out for me yesterday was that mobility, Martin. I want to kind of point this in your direction. We saw those volcanic vents being such a big influence on the game, especially when we saw that final circle moving towards that volcano. What were your thoughts on what you saw from those vents and the added mobility in Season 8?
Well, at first I thought, hey, this is a great way to rotate and there's no risks involved. Well, I oversaw those risks because as we saw yesterday, people were kind of setting up right next to these vents by the last couple of zones and just waiting for people to use them to their advantage. But you know, we saw some players using them and then instantly being shot down. So there's a risk to it as well.
Well, there is a risk to it, but it's time to get into our gameplay for today. Round number 1 is underway. Stress, Mine Creek, take it away, gents.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Duos, 14 games at the ESL Katowice Royale. So settle yourself next to the pool at Paradise Palms. Stock up on Slurp Juice because we are in for the long haul. And these were our solos winners from yesterday, or our solo winner from yesterday. As Vinny, we saw him dropping over in Snobby. The distribution of teams to start this off. How many teams do you think viably are going to be landing in the same spot? Because it's a whole lot more difficult than solos, right, to get that loot disparity.
Yeah, that's right. Like we mentioned earlier, I think we'll see a lot of things changing after maybe 1 or 2 games. In the beginning, you might see some contesting going on, but you know, these players want to get to late game as soon as possible. I want to say that the first couple of games. So maybe we'll see a bit more passive play here. And when they figure out where, like, how many people, how many opponents are in their vicinity, they will start making different plans.
It's interesting. We did see Vinny drop in on Snobby, right? And now we see as well Animal and Aspect here as well. If I'm not mistaken, they might end up against each other. But we've got a very South Storm, or at least safe zone, to start things off. But Duos is a little slower. In the early game, in the mid game as well, just there's fewer fights because you can't get that one pump and, oh, you've won the fight instantly. The elimination's gone off. You can't just move on. You have to take both teammates down, or at least get one and then rotate out. We're seeing Aiden and Nick Merckx here, Keolis, Mixalibur, Fax Fox, and Aim Hero all in Tilted Towers.
It looks like they will be pretty aggressive here to begin with. They haven't really spotted their opponents, but they are moving as a unit right now. Whereas Mixalibur seems to be kind of split from his opponent, from his teammate.
And this is one of the areas where we're expecting more action in the early game, just the way that Tilted tends to play out. As Aim Hero and Fax Fox very vocal on Twitter to say, oh no, we're coming Tilted, and anybody else who lands here, be prepared to fight.
You know, that could be a scare tactic as well. You want to scare those players away. But, you know, Aiden and Nick Merckx won't really give that up so easy.
Yeah, they're well known for it. Everybody knows they're dropping there. Yeah. I think that'll be the surprise. Is it 14 solid games of Tilted Towers for Aiden and Nick Merckx, or do they say, okay, maybe we've lost this fight, or we didn't win every single one, so maybe we move? It's game 1 of the weekend. 14 games total over 2 days. And we are in for the long haul. No player has been eliminated so far. Yeah. So we're in. In fact, 2 players aren't in this, so we're with Blacks as Hunter does get downed, and Hunter actually drops the case. You can see that in the action feed. So 96 players remain on this one.
So that's the first team going down to start this day off. And looking here at Black, so he does have a minigun and a attack shotgun, so that's in his advantage, but it looks like they will start to push in here like pretty fast.
Down goes the Vic, tries to get the angle on the fight. Envy is going to get down to start this off. Blacks is going to try and spin up that minigun. Envy is out of here already as the Vic takes a lot of damage. And now it's Sinnoh, 1 versus 2. The health is low on the Vic, but Sinnoh's going to take this one slower, just get himself behind a wall.
And we see Vic here with his team, and Vic and Black, so just taking it really slow. You don't want to push in too much and make mistakes here. They do already have 1 elimination. They don't necessarily need to go for the second push. Not really sure if I agree with it. You do have the upper hand, but, you know, taking it slow is what we expected at this point.
Jam side and 7 SSK, 7 pushing towards Zeke and Poverty. And Poverty didn't get the rift. It was Zeke that goes through, and that's a lot of damage that's been done in the air. Trying to track him down, trying to get any last shot that they can to pick up a down to start this. But, oh, look at how low Zeke is. Poverty just gets taken out from 135 meters to get downed.
And we see Zeke doesn't really have a lot of health here, so not quite sure if they will make it way out of this one.
Yeah, this would be a very tricky one because Zeke has to track back and find Poverty. So looks like the Russian and Belarus duo are going to pick up their first elimination of this game.
And that's right. And as they do so, looks like Paradise is theirs for the taking now. There's no one else in there, which is somewhat of a surprise, being such of a hotspot.
Right, and maybe talk to us a little bit about why that could be, because I know some of the mobility, like the rifts, were changed on this southeast side of the map.
We saw probably to go there for finish, but yeah, you know, we could get back to that in a second. We do have Tux here jumping into a little fight.
Yeah, Provoked is here alongside him, and they're trying to get onto that first floor. Looks like Jules and M11Z, or Mies here, to try and take this fight.
We do see a secondary team up on the mountain right next to them, so that's something you have to bear in mind. If you do take this fight, you will have the risk of another team jumping in. So I'd expect these players to maybe go back a little bit, maybe not engage in a fight, but at the same time, as soon as you rotate away from there, the other team might just, shoot, fire at you from behind.
Aim Hero did just go down in the action feed, but here we're on with Provoke trying to get through that wall, does break it to start, but ends up with a little damage traded in response. You can hear the explosives are going off. Gonna try and disrupt as much of this building as possible. Dynamite has been charged. Tux is trying to run away, see where he can get to. Loses all of his cover at this point, and Jules is gonna try and just get a few shots with that silenced SMG.
Using those dynamite to their advantage, opening up. Oh, that's a beautiful hit, actually.
Jules just took so much damage in response, and Provoke trying to come over the top. That's a third party, I think. The ones from the hill that you were talking about as Provoke gets shut down. And this is the dangerous situation with Duos, is you can't just relentlessly be aggressive, but that is so much damage coming through as Provoke ends up dropping. Jules gets a wall up, but it's too late. Now trying to drop down to the low ground to settle himself. And Tux, did he just get sniped?
I believe so. That's the danger of having a team nearby.
That was Nate Hill, and Funk Bomb from the hill takes him out. His duo is already down. The duo is out.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, that's a risk, and they will be happy with that. Funk Bomb and Nate will just, we're happy with that elimination. We'll head out. But look at this tilted action already.
Yeah, Katowice, without his duo, will get dropped by Nick Merckx, and Nick Merckx and Aiden may very well have established themselves as the kings of Tilted in Game 1, because Aim Hero and Fax Fox fell already. I saw that in the action feed earlier on. So some important eliminations over in Tilted.
Yes, I did see a secondary, third team making their way into Tilted, so let's see how long they can actually hold that for. A little bit of a fight here going on the outside of Dusty Divot.
Yeah, this is Mota and Eric Triceps, who, Eric, it's his first real experience in a tournament setting. This is very early launch pad to start moving. Is that just to disengage from that fight completely and say, okay, we'll take a fight another day?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't necessarily need to use those mobility items to rotate, but sometimes you do need to use them to get away from a fight and live to see another day.
Nate Hill and Funk Bomb are in Fatal, but there's teams in the cornfields for now. Just hiding out, trying to just keep themselves safe.
That's a scary spot, right? You can't really see people moving around there, except for the little grass like bumping up. This is Violinen and Windwalker, as you said. I mean, they're not alone here, though. It's getting pretty scary. We have the twins, Jesse and Jordan, making their way in.
At all, and here we go. The first time on stream at an international tournament, we are going to see the X2 twins in duos here in Europe as live and in person. Now we get to see them go up against Funk Bomb and Nate as well. Over the top they go, and look at this. Funk Bomb gonna back himself away, make sure he's closer to Nate. This is one of these real dream duos that we want to see face off against each other, but it's gonna be slow and steady to start this one off. Look at the disengage from Nate and Funk Bomb. They are constantly trying to just put up as much in the way as they can, but a lot of it has just got dropped. Nate just took a lot of damage from this, and over the top, Jesse goes. Jordan is tracking a little bit further behind him, and they have to watch their own backs, because we know there were other teams around Fatal.
And you can just see their synergy already, taking different angles, having one of them push up while one stays behind on higher ground, trying to suppress some fire while,
Jesse's gone over the top. He's dropping down towards Funk Bomb. If he can get through this wall, maybe he can get it, but he's got to be careful of where Nate Hill is. Jesse trying to build up, get that high ground, and the X2 twins have secured the advantageous position for themselves, but they have to convert it. Edit comes through, does not hit the shot, and Jordan takes a lot of damage in response. Now they desperately have to scramble to get that high ground and still watch their backs, because you can see top side of your screen, that other team is already building their way towards this fight.
And what may have started as an upper hand is now about to turn around here. It's a little bit of a slow fight.